Like, why did I pay $26,000 to become a chef?
Oh, you went to culinary school. You idiot.
That's the same reason why group therapy doesn't work.
The shit that I've done, I should have been arrested.
Watch my shitty TV show on Amazon. It's $6 for the whole season now. It'll be way worse than this podcast.
I don't mind that Bruce Jenner won Woman of the Year, but if you ask her where she wants to eat and she has an instant answer, that's still Bruce.
I found
3 out
out.
of 4 of these people at the table right now have been on mood stabilizers.
What?
They just dropped and broke 11 centerpiece mirrors. They shattered. He's like, no, you don't understand, man. Every mirror you break is 7 years of bad luck. That's 77 years of bad luck, man.
Like, my chef, when I graduated culinary school, she looked at me and she was like, you're not going to do well in this industry.
Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of More Salt. Today I am joined by chefs Harper, Mary, and Anthony. Very good friends of mine. Thanks for being here, you guys.
I'm hardly a chef. I completely have done dishes the whole time. Chefs don't do dishes, so I don't really count.
So you do, you used to do some chefing, and then you were a stand-up comedian. I've seen you do a lot of stand-up comedy.
Well,
Where do you want to start?
it took 2.5 years before I could actually go into a place and enjoy myself, because I literally would sit in view of the kitchen. And when I became a chef, when I graduated, that's when open kitchens started.
Oof.
So yeah, I walked into a kitchen and they were like, hey, remember that big wall that everybody told you could lose your mind behind? We just took that out because people want to see that now. But by the way, you can't cuss anymore. And I was like, this is the beginning of the end. The minute they were like, no walls and we're gluten free, and I was just like, why did I pay $26,000 to become a chef?
Oh, you went to culinary school.
Yeah, so
You idiot. You fucking moron.
I'm sorry that I took the tollway and not the fucking back road that I had to get 8 times. Okay, I paid to take the expressway and I will not apologize. I basically speak French if I remembered all those words to put together. But literally on the first day of culinary school, dude, my whole life, so I was raised a cowboy. I was raised in a town of 40 people and no cell phone service. Like, there's more people in the line at the DMV in Plano than there are in my hometown.
Jesus.
And I wasn't related and had all my teeth, and I still couldn't get a husband. They're real picky. They like to keep it inside the family. That's not just a thing specific to Alabama. So by the time that I actually was fortunate enough to get to go to college and like leave my hometown, I quit talking to my mom right before I graduated high school. Like, completely quit talking to her. And she called me up one day and she was like, don't hang up. I want you to go to culinary school. And I was like, I am not paying for it. You cannot make me. That's so dumb. I'm a hostess in a hometown. I have all my teeth, and apparently that's a good thing. I'm just going to stay here. And she was like, no, you're going to college. And I said, fine, but I'm not paying for it. So I went to college, and my sister paid for all of it.
Nice.
So I got good grades on purpose, but I have so much anxiety, and rightly so. It was on a community college campus. And the day I got there, they had my name, what dormitory I was in, and the fact that I was enrolled in culinary school. They did not assign me a dorm room. We did not know if we were AM or PM classes. And I like looked at my mom when there's like an assembly line like out of Robin Hood Men in Tights where they have like your chef pants, your chef coat, your stupid fucking hat you have to wear, and like there was a big toolbox for the bakers, and there was this flat knife bag that was made from Victorinox. So we got like Swiss Army knives, and they are heavy, and I hate to wield a Wusthof. I will cut my fingers off. I will go too fast because I'm used to having like a 20-pound dumbbell for a knife.
Yeah.
And the chef was like, well, you're enrolled. We don't know which. Do you want to be in AM or PM? And I looked my mom straight in her eyeballs, and I was just like, I want PM. I'm tired of waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, because I spent my whole life pushing 1,500 head of cows around 300,000 acres of BLM land. I spent so much time on a horse, and that's why I talk so much, because I spent so much time in silence. Out there with the Wendigos, like where I'm from, we got away with shooting Peruvians like well into the 70s. Like there's some Wendigos out there. It's real bad. And if you took all the rocks out of Eastern Oregon, there'd just be a hole. So
mad I'm not over there right now.
You could come up anytime. We're there. Like,
oh God.
we really should be like Italy, where we're like, we'll pay you to move here to put new blood back in the water. That's really what we should do.
Time to freshen it up a little
Dude,
bit.
I'll fist fight a Wendigo. I would love that.
You say that.
You're not supposed to say their names.
I'm not scared.
Is that right?
It's been a
No,
lot of
dude,
big years.
technically.
I've worked at like ski lodges and seasonal jobs. Like when I graduated culinary school, and when I discovered sausage, like sausage making, that's all I've asked for Christmas and my birthday
No shit.
every year since then. I wanted a sausage press and like the casing, and I was so ready.
We were talking about on that one episode we did. Dude, have you ever seen those sausages? They're like stuffing like. It's not just sausage. It's like sausage and pancake and egg and cheese and all this shit inside of a breakfast sausage casing. And it's like you called it a breakfast Go-Gurt.
But it's like a sandwich. It's like a whole sandwich.
Yeah, but it's not
And hash browns.
Squeeze it out, like, it's so good.
So the worst part about being the most creative human being with the best mom who was ever, the best cook ever, I thought that I invented so many things when I went to culinary school. I was like, I invented this, and they were like, no, here's the French word for it. I'm like, but I did it on my own, and I did it I did it 2 years before I got here, and I didn't need any help, and there was no because I am old.
That's probably the best part of going to culinary school. Is like, you're not original.
Before I went to culinary school,
done.
because my mom like slept with another man after he shook my dad's hand, and they abandoned me for like my whole senior year. I was living off of grilled cheese and Campbell soup, and then for breakfast I would put my bacon down and put the waffle iron down, and then I'd come back and put my waffle batter on top, and then just before my waffle batter was cooked, I'd crack an egg and put it. I did that when I was 17.
Man.
No internet, okay? I thought Hennessy was a drug. I went to my first bar at 21 years old, and on the wall it said Hennessy and ginger, and I looked over at my friend, and I was like, they got drugs on the menu. Because I thought it went heroin, Hennessy, cocaine. Like, you guys laugh. It was real. Somebody asked me, so I was a dental assistant after I quit being a chef. I did a hard shift and went into dental assisting. And I was at one of my safety classes, and in front of a group of everybody in one of those like folding wall conference centers, but there's like 50 people in this classroom, and I looked at them, and the gal who ran the class, she looked at me and she goes, how do you run your lines? Because I was talking about being in a TV show, and then she was like, how do you run your lines? And I said, I don't really, I'm a terrible actress. And she was just like, no, how do you run your lines? And I was just like, I'm sorry that I don't do it. Maybe my acting would get better. Running your lines in dentistry is like after we do an extraction, you bleed all over in the tube, you go and put like bleach water in it to clean it. That's running your lines.
Oh.
And that's what she was talking about.
Like sanitizing the equipment.
Yes. And I
that you
was
had done that
talking
for a
about
while.
literally like running my lines because I was talking about, like, that's the same reason why group therapy doesn't work, because like people who have like the 3 out of their 8 children back are over there like, wow, you've really made it. You're doing so good. Your life's fucked up. And I'm just like, yep, and I've never done meth. And it's just, and those people are sitting across from you like enveloped in your life, and you're just like, yeah, all I do is kind of drink.
A lot of us have done that.
I did it on...
Not naming any names.
I did it on accident. So the first time, I did it on accident with cocaine one time.
You did it on accident?
My bones vibrated on a frequency I didn't understand. I was like, that was meth. Like, it was not good. Don't you hate it how in the early part of your hospitality, sorry, I keep pushing that away like it's going to do something. In the first part of your hospitality career, I don't know how young you started, but like
I was pretty old.
Right when I turned 19, I worked at a country club, and Mother's Day, they would buy flats of the Pale Blue Monster and Pop-Tarts. And then when I was,
What kind of Pop-Tarts?
all kinds. There was frostingless, because
Variety
some
pack.
of us
Oh,
are
variety pack,
psychopaths.
Frosting list. What? Who hurt you?
Oh,
I know, but I love those ones. So my dad.
That was the entire reason to
I'm
buy
tired of getting hit on
Pop-Tarts.
by men, but nobody hits harder than my father. Like,
Jesus fucking Christ.
somebody hooped and hollered at a stand-up one time for that. She was like, I fucking hate my dad. I was like, I love my father. That's just a thing to say. That was my Kermit the Frog dark side of my brain. Like, I'm so sorry. But I hate how, like, dude, they ride you hard. They ride you like Seabiscuit. Do you know how they do horse races, like horse race horses?
Yeah, I've been
You
to a
know
few
horses?
jockeys.
Yeah, they start them at like a year old, and by the time they're 4, they're forever old. So Seabiscuit was like 2 years old, running his butt off, and people don't realize that. You think Seabiscuit's like 8 or 9 and really setting his cartilage? No, he's 2 years old on just doing his best.
They retired so easy and like so early in their life.
But poor little racehorses. And sometimes I lament with that because like lodge. Has anybody worked at a lodge? We worked at like a seasonal job. It gets downright incestuous. Everybody gets lonely and there's a lot of drinking.
Speaking of horses, you know the company Glock, right? They make guns.
Yeah.
Right?
Such a perfect word for it.
Do you know what Glock's other major business is?
You told me
other
this.
than
I know
other
what
than
it is.
firearms?
Elmer's glue.
That's kind of
Horse
close.
cum.
Well, there is a market for it.
they specialize in equipment that for obtaining and I guess preserving
Okay.
horse
There's
cum.
a roster of
You guys
stud
act-
horses at the back of every
If we
block
could
range.
eat horses, Chef would be interested in horse cum because do you think Wagyu marble beef happens because we let cows naturally get together? No. They're like, you can buy a straw and then there's this T-shaped thing that goes in the lady bits and it runs around for like 2 weeks, puts them in heat, they pull that thing out and then they pump the straw in there. And that's it. It's AI. That's my AI.
No
Artificial
way.
insemination. Literally. That's what it is. Google it.
There's restaurants in Japan where you can have horse sashimi.
Oh. Well, I've had
Would you
horse.
eat a horse?
It's
Would I
it's
eat a
kind of like
horse?
it's
If
kind
it's
of
a
like
horse, I didn't
buffalo, like somewhere between buffalo.
If
and
it wasn't
venison,
one
it's
that
horse.
I like knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. some anonymous.
Obviously, yeah, it's
horse.
already got to be dead cooked and in front of
Yeah,
you.
I'm
Does
cowboy,
anyone
no, I can
out
eat a
there
horse,
know
I
what
know.
horse tastes
Yeah,
like?
I
It's
make
sweet,
personal
it's
connections
sweet,
with my
but
horses.
it's not-
We all know
Yeah.
what horse tastes like.
We were raised on the Great Plains. It was the year 1942. My mother had just made me finish an entire pack of cigarettes so I would know not to smoke them ever again. And then we had to eat the mule before we finished the trip.
Mule, that's different.
No, we ate the horse.
Yeah, we were honestly not that far from the border. We've all probably had horse. We probably all know what it tastes like.
I don't think I've ever had a horse.
You've been to Taco Bell.
Fuck off.
I was always told it was Wendy's. They're like, that's
Has
why they're
anybody
square.
cooked for
What
celebrities?
does that
Like,
mean?
who's your celebrity roster?
Celebrity? I don't know about celebrity. I once helped out with a dinner for all of the Texas representatives, including Governor Greg Abbott.
That's pretty cool.
Not my most shining moment. There's a lot about that story that I can't talk about on the internet. But there were a lot of people who were trying to put ideas in my head,
Oh, I'm sure.
and
I would have just hocked
I
a
would have
loogie and called
I
it
would
a
have
day.
never. But like had I made some really poor choices, I could have been the most eligible prisoner in all all of Texas.
That's true.
Women
But
would
it's
have
not
lined
worth
up to
the
visit
price
me.
of admission.
No, absolutely not.
So after my externship, and I had all these accolades because my culinary school had an Olympic team, and we had the world's #1 ice carver and the world's #2 wood carver, which is the same person. And like, so, I have all these accolades, and I come from this thing, and I went to Sun Mountain Lodge, and I did all this stuff. I put in my bid to be Sarah Palin's to be her
We
chef.
had her at the hotel one time.
Did we really?
I didn't
That's who I was
pass
going to
'cause
say. I was like, who's that Alaskan woman? Sorry.
I didn't
was gonna
have
say that.
I didn't have my nutrition endorsement, but I also would have been like, I can't really see Russia from your house. So, 2 Chainz at Zatinia up at the Star,
That's
and
hilarious.
then when I was a
2
dental,
Chainz is such a G, dude. I love that dude.
and then when I worked for a dental office that's affiliated with those people, he was like, don't talk to any of
What do you
the
mean by those people?
Hold on, let me finish the rest of my sentence. He told me not to talk to any of the athletes. I was not allowed to talk to these athletes. And he was the 3rd person to tell me. And I did a TV show, and I was like, just because you don't know who I am doesn't mean I'm not famous. But I worked up at the Star, so I've seen all of those people. Like, it doesn't mean anything to me. And I also had a romantic on and off again relationship with William Hurt's son, whose name is also William Hurt.
I don't know who that is.
He was the Secretary of State in the Avengers. He was he was Will Robinson on Lost in Space.
The father or the son?
The father.
Oh, okay.
He was Will
You got the
Robinson.
son.
Movie or the
Yeah.
show?
The movie with Joey from Friends. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, his dad lived
He did a
in
movie.
Druzy, which is like 60 miles from where I'm from. We actually attended the same high school. He just graduated 2 years before I got there.
Interesting.
He taught me how to be on top. You can edit that out if you want.
No, that
I'm not
stays
gonna.
in. That
I'm not gonna.
stays in. Executive decision from both of us. That stays in.
Oh, did JFK die hungry? We have to put this somewhere during the beginning because I said it so close to the
What's
beginning.
the last thing on his mind?
He was asking Jackie, "Are you gonna have the roasted chicken or the Cobb salad? Because I'm gonna have the roast beef." But let's be honest, fellas, men don't ask women where they want to eat. That just give them a headache. And honestly, I don't mind that Bruce Jenner won Woman of the Year, but if you ask her where she wants to eat and she has an instant answer, that's still Bruce.
God.
I'm so happy you brought her on.
That's my bread and butter, and I've gotten no laughs over it over the years. And I keep peddling like Holly's over here, like, yeah.
Republicans are gonna love it.
I get accused of being a liberal just because I want drinking water for everybody. I want to recycle my cans for the homeless because you can get $14.40 a day by returning cans, and I'm an asshole for wanting the homeless to have a little bit of gas money.
Yeah, you fucking dick.
Gas. I was gonna say, what gas for sniffing?
Arson.
What they do in their spare time is, and maybe they'll sell it back for less.
So gas.
I don't know.
They need something to set the dumpsters on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, what's
Why would
fucking
they
gas but
set
IRL
those on
fast travel? You just don't know where you're gonna end up. GTA 5 taught me that.
You got notes.
I drove 20 hours to be here. One time I had a book and my mom was like, "Oh, what do you write down in that?" And I flipped it open and literally the bottom section said, "My mother is a reincarnated shot glass." So I read that out loud because, like, why not? Look at, there's my house.
Oh, that's wild. You have too much time on your hands.
I don't. I do this. Dude, do you think any of this... Look, it says pedophile turducken. What does that even mean?
I don't know, but I like it. So, are you ever gonna come back to restaurants?
Only... I would love to be a private chef, but you'd have to pay me like $130 an hour to step back into a kitchen.
Yeah.
If you gave me free creative reign, I'd probably settle for like 25. But if you're not going to give me creative reign, you're going to pay for my therapy. Like,
Dude, that's how I felt. Yeah, man, that's how I felt when Steve tried to get me to come back to fucking breakfast at the hotel, and I was like, dude, you can't afford me.
Yeah.
Like,
I would.
you can't pay me what I require to come
I
back
would
to that
rather
fucking
eat
position.
glass and do my freshman year of high school all over again.
Actually, though, fuck breakfast shit.
See, I was so glad I chose nights because I never was on breakfast, but I was that nighttime that was like, fuck y'all for using all the prep. Fuck y'all for not redoing your prep. Like, you guys just get to walk into a clean kitchen, and I wonder how nice that is.
Dude, no, I had to be at work at 4:30 in the morning, and I lived like 30 minutes away.
Have you ever gotten arrested 4 times in 1 year and tried to work in the service industry?
No, I've somehow managed to never get arrested.
So proud. Come
And
on
if you knew
vacation.
more about me, you'd be
Leave
even
on
more
probation.
proud. The shit that I've done, I should have been arrested.
I believe it.
Where was
I know enough about you to probably concur.
Where's the coolest
Yeah.
place you've ever had sex?
There are no cool
virgin?
places. No, man.
Walking?
The what? Oh, mm-mm.
Uh,
I actually got
temperature-wise?
trapped.
Well, no, coolest place.
Yeah, temperature wise?
How many? Ooh, here's a better question.
Beer cooler at the
How-
hotel.
Oh,
How many times have you truly been?
Well, still
form.
Lol.
counts.
You've been stopped by cops, it would have counted.
I think just in the parking lot. I think I got in a wild makeout session in the walk-in one time, but that's about it. How many times have you been?
Twice.
Only by men.
Goddamn.
You said you loved me.
Fuck off. No, look, working in close quarters in the kitchen with a bunch of other, mostly dudes, right? Like, things are gonna get a little gay, even if you're not gay, right? Things are gonna get a little gay. I've had my ass slapped by more fucking dudes on the line than you would believe.
Oh, you're talking about, you mean like
No, I mean
serious
real. I'm meaning real.
Or like what we
They
do
don't
with on
I
a
gotta
daily
censor
basis.
that. I gotta
No,
censor
I'm
the
meaning-
essay out.
I'm meaning real times when somebody was like, squishy grab time, and you're like, no, sir, I'm at work.
Oh, so many times.
My least favorite one was I was a sous chef. I finally got to be a sous chef. I was so
Proud of you.
excited. I was like, I'm gonna take all my money and I'm gonna make it, and then I'm gonna go and be an equestrian dentist. And 2020 was like, fuck your goals, just eat them over there.
And then everybody started getting sick in 2020.
No, some I had underlings. You can't call them coworkers when you're a manager, right?
Right.
But there was a
Subordinates.
guy that would
Minions.
make me turn red because he was really cute and I'm super dumb. So, and if I think you're cute, I'll just turn red, and that would happen with this guy. And they literally, like, all the prep cooks were like, hey, you need to go in there. And I was like, what? So I walked in the walk-in and somebody shoved me, and there was this other underling on the other side, and they shut off the light, and he rushed to me and like pinned me up against the wall and started licking my neck, and I banged on the wall and screamed with my
Jesus Christ.
with my cow pushing skills.
What
I
the
was
fuck?
like, let me the fuck out.
Who the fuck does
And then
that?
I yelled at everybody.
Man, guys.
Dude, I've seen some shit happen
not
in restaurants,
uncommon.
like,
Yeah.
but like nothing like that. I mean,
That's
shit.
a really mild one.
Like-
I mean, I
Yeah.
held Bryson up against a wall and dry humped him one time just to like, you know,
Yeah, but that's like
assert my dominance. Yeah.
like a mostly friendly.
Yeah.
That's mostly friendly. No, there's shit that happens
never
in
He
actually
kitchens.
asked
fuck
for help
Bryson.
and nobody helped him. He was just like, help.
Oh, that happened. My college friends, they sat on me and plugged one of my nostrils and put a butane ladder up to my nose and just pushed the button, and I went to go
Jesus.
stand up to chase them, and I fell straight down.
Yeah, I fucking bet.
Yeah, it gassed me.
That's fucked
I,
up. That's assault, I think.
Josh, what are your opinions on
Damn.
that?
I had a family member die in the Holocaust. He just fell off the watchtower, you know.
We're gonna get fucking canceled.
This is all unusable.
No, I'm using it. I'm absolutely using it.
You can't. Oh, got it. Watch my shitty TV show on Amazon. It's $6 for the whole season now. It'll be way worse than this podcast. It's so cringe. It's so bad.
Sold.
Oh, it's awful. I got a $30 royalties check and told I would never be worked with again. And in that 6 months scarred me more than
You
my 10.
you filmed a show.
Yeah. and
What show?
It scarred me more in that 6 months than the entire service industry in my 10 years.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
hold
in
on,
6
huh?
months they hurt me.
Back up. Like,
Production's hard, yeah.
what show did you film?
It was called Patty O'Shea's, and it's $6 on Amazon.
I feel like I've
Don't
heard
ask
of
questions.
that.
Don't even watch it. Just go straight to the reviews and put 5 stars. And this was complete shit, D-, and just leave it. Don't even watch it.
5 stars, but a negative
literally
comment.
Don't even ask AI.
What was that
whatever
experience
AI
like? Tell me about that.
Well, we filmed it at the VA in Hazlitt, and you could smoke inside. And you guys think I'm joking about my mom making me eat cigarettes, but I'm not. And so I would turn straight up green. And the only reason I was on that show is because my friend, who wasn't really my friend, he's like, literally the message that came in, he was like, I have no interest in being friends, but we need a female comedian, and you're the only person I know.
That's 6
What a way to
episodes
approach.
Yeah, and he was like, do you want to do it? And I was just like, son of a bitch, I'm in. Let's go. And it was because the first time that this director came around, there was a show he was trying to do, like 2021, where he was like, I had all these experiences in 2020 and we're going to go make a show. And I was like, cool. I love to write. Let's collaborate. Let's do it. And I literally wrote the front suite sequence for that show, like the intro theme for that show. And it is literally I did a pretty good job. And I got to write my own character, and I got to help develop some of the other characters. So we had like half an episode going, and then he was just like, I live in the middle of nowhere and everything's hard. And I was like, understandable, gas prices are going up. It's fine, no hard feelings. And then like a year, like 2 whole years later, I get this text message out of nowhere that's mildly insulting, and I was just like, "But opportunity," and it sounds like I don't have to wear a low-cut shirt. It's definitely not porn. Whatever it is, it's not porn, so we might as well do it. And the owner, the military soldiers that overlook that particular VA are Kevin Costner's cousins, and I have a deep hatred, like llama ear, wet cat at the screen door hatred for Yellowstone. But if Kevin Costner came up to me and was like, "You're having my babies," I'd be like, "Yes, sir. What hair color? What hair color would you like?" Tatanka. Like, I'm here. You ain't no super puncher unless you know Spoiled by Spurs. Like, I was asked what it was like to live between 2 different worlds, because like there are more people in the Metroplex than there are in the state of Washington.
Is it really?
Literally, that's a Googleable fact.
What?
The entire state of Washington has less of a population than the Metroplex by itself. The Metroplex has more people living in it.
This Metroplex.
Yes. The DFW, which
That's why I
I get
wanna
so
go back
upset
there
when
so
I'm
bad.
like, I lived in the DFW, and people are like, "Where's that?" I'm like, the fucking moon. What does it sound like? Dallas Fort Worth. Like, am I speaking any other language that isn't English that I can't get canceled on? Like, am I speaking gibberish to you? Like DFW, like Dallas Fort Worth. So there's more people in the Dallas Fort Worth area than there are in the entire state of Washington.
That's fucking crazy.
And I grew up in a
awful.
town of 40 people.
Are you from Washington?
No, I'm from Eastern Oregon, which
Okay.
I'm actually in the one time zone in Eastern Oregon that's in a different time zone. The rest of the state living their best lives. Eastern Oregon was like, nope. Mal here is French for tragedy. I live in Tragedy County.
No shit.
I have a fun fact about being French.
Oh god.
Did you guys see the Napoleon movie with Joaquin Phoenix?
No, I didn't see it.
No.
Did
I
you
heard
wanna
it
see
wasn't. I heard that they didn't really focus too much on his like military stuff and
Just
mostly
all the bad shit
just
he
his
did?
like weird sexual fucking relationship
Well,
that he had going on with somebody.
I ended up falling asleep
Like-
because like the film melted, so it took like twice as long to see that movie. But my sister bought me a 23andMe for Christmas, and then that movie comes out, and I was just like, I might not be bipolar, I might just be French. And then I started watching Vikings like 2 years ago, and I was like, I'm gonna go home and finish it, because when Jonathan Rhys-Meyers showed up, I was like, this is just Tudors, I hate everything. So I ended up watching it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna finish it. Like, today's the day. I finished Vikings, and when they got to the very end of it, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna spit in that tube. So 8 months later, I spit in my 23andMe tube, and I sent it off.
Probably not the worst thing you spit on.
Or spit out.
The governor's food, because I'm not a pussy. Anyway, my results came back. I was told my whole life, because I'm 6 foot, but I have giraffe neck legs. Not giraffe legs. Like, have you ever seen 2 giraffes fight?
Oh man,
That's
I love
what my
it.
legs look like when I walk.
Love
okay,
it.
like I have giraffe neck legs, and I got a short little torso. I'm 5'8" when I sit down. It's stupid. So when I sit up, it's like Godzilla, and that's why I'm a $12,000 stripper. But I digress. I got my results back, and I was told that I was German, Irish, and Russian. I am 50,000% German, and I am 46% French. So now whenever I'm over emotional or being ridiculous, I'm like, I'm just French.
It's funny you say that, because typically, yeah, but my dungeon master's French, and he's like the most patient person I've met in my entire life. He's corralling people who act like fucking toddlers at 9 o'clock in the morning.
That's amazing.
I think just to clarify, we should for the record, Dungeon Master.
D&D.
You play D&D.
Yeah.
It's not like a kink thing. It's definitely a Dungeons and
You
Dragons
have
thing.
to have a long safe word that leaves you
I
enough
think that's
room.
worth mentioning.
It leaves you enough room for regret. My favorite safe word is Constantinople, so you can be like, continue.
Change your mind
My
if you
safe
feel like
word
it.
is Baba Ganoush.
You got the Baba Ganoush. Baba Ganoush.
Why is that gross to me?
Here,
That's
this
just
part
kinda
says,
gross.
here, just read this. Read this out loud.
But at least now, my rock bottom is masturbating at 4 p.m. on a Monday. Memories of the true millennial. What is wrong with you?
What is this book?
Oh, it's
Random thoughts.
it's just me.
There you go. There you go. How many do you have?
A lot. I have one that's like every party I've ever thrown and how like the recipes I use, like because I made a fennel cupcake with like I almost said arsenic. That would have outed me. Absinthe glaze.
Fucking over here killing
And
people.
like char siu pork. It's actually really easy to make, and people will just think you are the fanciest.
What is
person.
that?
Chashu?
It's that red Chinese pork that you get at the Chinese food places, but if you do it right, it's supposed to be kind of charred on the outside, and
Okay.
it's so succulent.
Ooh.
Dare I say, just like.
Ooh, heard succulent.
That question that you always get asked, Anthony.
Uh-huh.
What is your favorite thing to cook?
I hate that.
Oh
question.
my god.
You know what I said?
You know what?
I
can
figured
never
it out,
fuck-
guys. I found the holy grail of answers. You look them straight back in their face. Ask me. I'll show you. It's a seduction.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
Whatever you want to eat. If you want a $12 grilled cheese, I got you. You want a beef Wellington? You better let me know 72 hours in advance.
No, that's a solid answer.
It
and
is.
It has ridge.
It
Like,
has
it's both.
done me so good. And you can say it as pissed off or as sexy as you want. You could be like,
Yeah.
whatever the
No,
fuck
I
you
like
wanna
that. I'm gonna
eat.
use that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Good.
absolutely.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, I gotta remember
Please.
that too. Cause like I actually try to think of a fucking answer.
No, that's the answer. Because
Yeah.
I used to be
That-
like,
I think that is the
I
answer.
would pour my heart and soul
I hate that
into that
question.
answer, and then people would be like, fuck what you like to cook. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck off.
What's one of the coolest, what's one of the coolest recipes you ever developed?
The very earliest part of my career, aforementioned externship in Washington Nowhere, you had
Love
to
Washington.
complete 395 hours of externship time. And we had 6 weeks to do it, and we were getting paid $300 a week to be there. And I wanted to either get on salary or get the fuck out of there. So I started pulling from 5 a.m. to like the closing shift. I worked all day. I actually got paid for my last 2 weeks, but I told that chef because I turned in my packet and he wouldn't sign it. And I was like, why aren't you signing it? And I was so good at cleaning the kitchen, he wouldn't let me go. He's like, on the last day, I'll sign that for you. And I was like, I'm going to eat this pound of chicken and you can sign it from the hospital. Like, I want out of here. But while I was there, they did a moose bouche because it's a really ridiculous, super schwanky lodge. And I smoked Queen Anne olives and goat cheese and then baked a piece of kale. So you put the little piece of goat cheese and you have the olive and you stick the olive in it. When you chew on that, it tasted like a martini, and I didn't even know what a martini tasted like.
That's a good idea.
That's
You
like
got
one
me
of
with
the
goat
most.
cheese and olive.
That's been one, and then
It's
that
like a
shit.
stuffed olive, yeah.
yeah, and
No, I like that. That's
yeah.
dope.
You don't like olives?
I don't like olives, no. But
There's a
that'd be-
shortage right now.
I would
anyway,
serve
so
that.
I hope you're happy.
I understand, like just because I don't like something doesn't
Right,
mean that I
right.
know that it's not good,
True.
right?
It's
Thank
like
you.
I don't like fish, but I'll serve the fuck out of fish. I can make a beautiful plate.
the place where I always
don't like the
shine
shit.
was when vegetarians, not vegans because they're hard to please, but vegetarians and like gluten-free people. Because the way I would sort it out, because gluten-free was like right as
Honestly,
I came
dude, if
onto
you're
this-
gluten free
no, here's
and
that
like
fil-
you can't, your tummy can't handle
No.
bread.
Here's that
like,
filtration system.
Dude, that's genetics, bro. Like your bloodline is weak. You will not survive the winter.
You can't even eat
You know,
bread.
like fuck you.
You can't even drink beer. You're not
Yeah.
part of the master
You can't
race.
you can't even handle bread. Like, dude, die. Just die.
The way you filter that out, you ask somebody, you go, oh, are you gluten-free for health reasons? And if they say yes, you go, oh, you're a dumb bitch, okay? And you move on. You go, you and your dog must get along, and you walk off.
So you'd rather eat a pound of rice or
Yeah.
a shit ton of potatoes instead? No.
I love the Mulan guy that yells at everybody to wash their rice. He keeps me going.
Uncle Robert?
No, he's
That's
on
what I was thinking,
Instagram.
too.
He's an Instagram famous guy, but he's so beautiful, and he dresses up in like cartoon Mulan stuff all the time, and he like shakes the camera.
You're gonna have to
"Wash
send me
your
all these
rice!"
shits that you're talking about.
But I do love Uncle Roger. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. Like,
Emotional damage.
it's a Leo Pleurodon, Charlie.
We got this girl that works where we work.
Where we work.
It's like
I know.
this like
I watched
purple
all
haired
that.
septum ring.
What do you mean
having,
purple hair?
like,
Every week it's different.
It's different. Yeah, it changes regularly. She used to have purple hair. I don't know what color it is this week. but
Totally up his
she's got
alley.
this fucking thick ass septum ring in her fucking nose, and I don't fucking
Well,
know.
Emotional damage.
Nobody knows her.
Yeah, but every time she
If
walks,
she had one of these
I'm
tattoos
asking
too,
for
like
purely scholarly reasons.
as soon as she walks into the kitchen and we see her, immediately one of us and some we're just gonna go emotional damage.
Who was
That's her name. That's
Who
her
were we
fucking
talking
name.
to and trying to explain who was bringing the stuff or whatever? Who was gonna go pick it up? Right? She went to go pick up some stuff from the kitchen. And they were like, "Well, who did they send?" And
Dude,
they
I
were
don't
like,
fucking know.
"What's her
Emotional
name?" And they like
Fucking
told her,
emotional
you
damage
told
over
Nat
there.
her name, and she's like, "I don't know who that is." So just tell her emotional damage.
Yeah, and so I
I was
was
like, "Oh, okay, yeah." Yeah, she knew who
you
you
knew
were.
exactly who I was talking about. Emotional damage over there, like you know the one.
She got school shooter pants.
Oh yeah.
What does
Yeah.
that mean?
You know
The
exactly
ones that
what
you
that
get
means.
from Hot Topic back
They're
in the day with the
almost
fake zippers and
Jayco jeans.
the
Those,
and the chains.
What were they called?
The
Trip pants.
Yeah, trip pants.
That's from 2006.
I don't even know that. I just know school shooter pants because of her.
Bringing back 2006 with the trip pants.
Shooting pants are Wranglers where I'm from. Your
Yeah.
daddy can afford the Wranglers and you're still causing problems? Go fuck yourself.
I wore Levi's and Wranglers. I'm a simple guy. And buckle jeans. Got a friend who worked at the buckle. He cut me a deal.
Why don't you just tell us what tax bracket you're in while you're at it? Do you get them thrifted or do you buy them wholesale? Like, where do you get these buckle
I
jeans?
don't get them anymore.
With a scruffy beard
I
like
haven't
that,
bought
where do you
jeans
get them
since I-
from?
Okay.
Okay.
I haven't bought
Be nice to
jeans
the tech monkey.
for- Fuck, last time I bought a pair of jeans was like
Oh God.
I haven't grown.
So what are you doing these days?
I'm cowboying.
What
And
the
it-
fuck does that even mean?
Well,
you gotta explain it to the Yankees.
I am not a cowgirl because I'm not a porn star. So I am
Or a
a
buckle bunny.
I am a cowboy. I have my own buckles, and and like all women are like pasta. We're all straight till we're wet. Like I could be a buckle bunny for the right reasons, but you know, I just would be anyway. I digress. No, so there's 1,500 head of cows. And then there's 300,000 acres of BLM sectioned off into like 50, 60,000 acre pastures. And during certain times of the year, you have to move those cows around those allotments so you can make hay down at the farm. And then once you make all the hay, and then in the fall time, you start ripping their babies from them and you sell them and you wean them because they're big bastards. Like they're as big as their moms. And you're like, nah, get on the trailer. And you leave the ladies on the desert and you bring the calves home, and then they separate from their moms after a couple of weeks. Then you bring the moms home and you get them rebred and you feed them all winter, and then they calve out and then you send them back out, and thus the cycle perpetuates.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understood very little of that.
That's okay. You love to cook steak and you love to
I fucking
you love to
love
charge
dead
money for
cow.
steak, but you don't know where it comes from.
It's
and
one of my favorite things on the planet.
I am here to fix it. Here, go ahead and read my tattoo.
I'm sure
down.
most of the steak we serve doesn't come from where you're
It's not
pushing
inappropriate.
around.
The desert way ain't always the right way.
Because sometimes you want to rope and drag a bitch, and that's illegal. I want to stick my dog on her, and I want to flank her to the ground and sit on her face and slap it as hard as I can. Take my fucking chew out and put it in her goddamn eye socket and slash some dirt in it and say, "Look behind you now, bitch. Keep moving."
You're such a gangster.
I'm the only one at the table that knows what that means. God.
No, I think you know horses.
She got it.
You know horses, yeah.
She's
You
parallel.
probably know what all this means.
No, yeah. I also, when I was like a preteen, I spent part of my summer herding cattle in Arizona.
Yeah, and you understand why we eat them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
dumb bitches.
What was that like?
it was super fun. I got to hang out with these cool ass cowboy dudes. We woke up like as the sun was
Did they
like,
rope a lot of
fucking-
stuff?
Yeah, they did a bunch of cowboy shit. And then there were illegals that had crossed through the property, so we tracked that for a while. And then
And you shot them like the Peruvian sheep herders.
they crossed into a different person's property, so we left them
Human.
alone. But, and
That's
then there was
fair.
like a bear that we had to deal with, but no, it was super fun.
Yeah?
It's a lot of
There to
fun
fix
herding
the
cattle.
fence.
Dude, I was scared
It's
of horses
wild,
for a
though.
long time. I
You
was
weren't
just
scared of the one on my back. Oh.
fuck off.
I did not have sexual relations with that one.
When I ran from the law and I went to Florida, I ended up working part time on this like little farm, and this old woman. Yeah, I said that. You heard me. And she had a bunch of fucking horses, and they were assholes, and I didn't like
horses.
them. But like I'd have like their buckets of feed or whatever. She gave me this big old, and this woman was old. She was like 87 years old, and she's like, here's this big old white
Go
stick.
out there with the treats. They'll come
She's
to you.
like, here's this big old white stick, if they start nudging you or being assholes, you just fucking raise the stick in the air. She's like, you ain't gotta hit them. You just raise the stick in the air. I'm like, this woman's beat the shit out of her horses.
Yeah, dude, I punched a horse in the fucking mouth last summer.
I didn't understand. I'd have like a bucket full of feed, and I'd be walking to the fence to hang it on the fence post or whatever, and this fucking horse would come up behind me and just push me.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, you little motherfucking bastard. Like, and I had this fucking stick, and I'd raise that fucking stick, and that horse would fuck off so fast. And I'd be like, dude, you little bastards. Like,
yeah, you know how much ass whooping that probably took to get that horse to that point.
That woman put some power into that stick.
I don't know, horses freak me out, but they're all right.
You need to go back there and find that stick.
Dude, that one old woman's probably dead by now.
Go find that stick, dude.
I don't know. Florida.
Fucking right here on the
Florida's
wall.
a different kind of place. I hated Florida. I fucking hated Florida. I hated Florida so much that at that point in my life, like, I knew that if I came back to Texas, I was gonna go to jail. And I decided that I hated Florida so much that I would rather be in jail. And so I drove all the way back to fucking Texas, and sure as fucking shit,
Dude,
went back to jail.
You need to
Has
get on your
everyone
AI music thing and make a Johnny Cash style song about
About-
leaving Florida to go to a
Chicken and
Texas
Black.
jail.
Chicken and Black is one of my favorite Johnny Cash songs of all time. Love that song.
Don't pay me no mind.
I should do that. I fucking hated Florida though, dude. I remember one morning, I went to go. I had a dog named Bojack at the time. His name was
He's
Lord.
a dog, though.
His name was Lord Bojack. He wasn't named after BoJack Horseman. That's the common misconception. He was named after a fucking Dragon Ball Z character. His name was Lord Bojack.
Oh, the space pirate. Oh,
Yes. Yes.
Can I derail you for 2 seconds? My horse on my back, Orion, everybody thinks it's after the constellation, and it's actually the cat in
It's
Men in
fucking
Black.
boat.
Carry on. Bojack the horse.
So like,
That's a
and
dog.
I went to go let Bojack out to piss one morning, and like it rained for like a week and a half because it's fucking Florida. And I live like 40 minutes from Daytona Beach, and it fucking sucks. And I went to go let him out to piss one morning, and there's like a 9-foot dinosaur just chilling in my fucking yard, and I was like, this place, I hate it. I'm sick of this state. I'm going back to Texas. I'll go back to jail. I don't give a shit. This place. And I packed up all my shit like 2 weeks later, drove all the way back to Texas, and a month later I was in fucking jail.
Were you
Why?
in Denton here?
Why though?
You
You did something wrong though. They didn't just they didn't just hear you were back
So-
in town.
You're like, oh,
I don't care. Like, I'm in good standing.
Round
with
them
the
up,
law
boys.
these days. I'll
It was
tell this
Quaid's
story.
dad.
I sold pot. And I had a whole bunch of it. And
Shitty person.
And
How could
the
you?
city that I lived in, they were not too happy about that. They caught me with like, I don't know, 17 ounces or so. And and I freaked out, and I'm bipolar, I'm manic, so I entered a
Maybe
full
you're
manic
just French.
phase, and I packed up all my shit, and I ran. Actually, I say I ran off to Florida, but first I went from here to Lawrence, Kansas, and then I drove from Kansas all the way over to Chicago, and then I drove all the way from Chicago all the way down to Palm Coast, Florida. And then I ended up living in this town called Bunnell. They called it the Mondex. And it was basically like somebody went out to a swamp, took a good look around, and was like, this is a good place for a community. And it
build some
sat
tree
down a bunch of
houses.
trailers, right? And so that's where I ended up. And like, for the first like 2 weeks, it was awesome because I was manic and I didn't know what was going on. And then reality set back in. I was like, dude, I'm on the run from the fucking law. I'm working at a Pizza Hut in Palm Coast, Florida. It rains
Is
for
that where
2
your
weeks at
Pizza
a
Hut
time.
training is from?
I just gotten there. Right after I got there was that gay club shooting in Orlando. Y'all remember that? Like 2016.
Oh,
something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That shit happened, and then there was a fucking hurricane. And I was like, dude, f- this state. I hate this place. I'm sick of it. I'd rather be in fucking jail. And I came all the way back to Texas.
Wait.
Went back to fucking
So
jail.
the only other option was not the other, like 45 states you hadn't been to. It was just
Dude,
just
I know,
go back.
We're on a nice little road trip. You know, like
You're
it's
tired.
Canadian.
Were you
so
tired?
ask
Okay.
your wife. You know, like fucking you just.
What's that supposed to be? Maybe she's just French.
She might just be French. Where are you?
Italian.
That explains it, though.
Still one of the answers.
Leo, you're just
A little
Italian.
bit. Italian, German.
No, but I was, I don't know what I was thinking, man. I was making bad decisions. Ran off to Florida, came back to Texas because honestly, I like Texas. It's alright. Like, I hate the heat.
I had a court date every single Wednesday in the month of November. Like, I went to court the day before Thanksgiving, and I finally got I got arrested 4 times that year. I don't remember what the punchline there was. I forgot mid-stride. You touched me, and I forgot.
You got arrested 4 times that year for
I
what?
did. The first one was a DUI. I got arrested 3 times in the same state, and then 1 out of state. So I got arrested for a DUI January 3rd, and then I got arrested.
You remember the dates?
And then I got, it was almost every 4
you
months
would.
like clockwork. It was fucking stupid.
You
So January 3rd, July 3rd, because on July 4th, I got bailed out of jail, and I had to go do my day for my DUI on the 5th and 6th. And I ate 4 weed cookies on my way into jail when I was doing my 5th and 6th. And I'm sitting there with my handcuffs behind my back, and there was a guy next to me with a grill, and then there was the cop, and he slammed the door, and I was like kertrunking up on my high. Like, you know when you're going up a roller coaster and you almost get to the top, like that 1 second before inertia? That's where I was at, and he shut the jail door, and the noise that it made, I started panicking, and they were like, what's wrong? And I was just like, if there's a fire, do the doors just open? And they were like, he was like, what? And I was like, dude, if there's a fire, like, are we just gonna die? Like, are we expected to conduct ourselves? Like, what happens? And he's like, the door doesn't fly open. And he was like, are you okay? And I was like, well, I was in Madison County the day before yesterday, and I was really scared that I was gonna miss my day in jail today. And the cop looked at me, and he was like, you've been in 2 separate jails in 2 separate states and 2 separate counties in the last day and a half. And I looked over at the guy with the grill, back up at the cop, and back at the guy, and I went, I didn't choose the thug life. The thug life chose me.
Does anybody else need a beer?
And then somebody called bullshit
Yeah,
on that
think about
story, and I was in a vape shop, and the guy
wrong?
who was next to me in jail walked in.
I guess my
and he
last
was just
Nito.
like, "Thug life."
Yeah. One Nito, 1 Montucky, all day.
Your woman here.
If you could
Thanks, sir.
say them in Spanish. What's your favorite kitchen Spanish word?
Man, look, I'm terrible at Spanish. I don't know a lot of
No.
Spanish.
I taught him all the Spanish he knows.
I
Which is not a
love,
lot.
I love, as long as you know camarones and papas fritas.
I know how to
Shrimp
say.
and
I know how to
french
say
fries.
French fries. Yeah,
We
I could
really
ask for
need
more
to say
potatoes.
papas.
Have you ever tried speaking Spanish in a British accent?
You know, I feel like I have tried that.
Fiesta de la noche en tu pantalones.
Fiesta de la noche.
Donde está pollo fritas?
Donde está pollo?
There's a night party in your pants, and where's my chicken fried? Those are important questions to know how to say, I feel. Like, you can get through Spain. You can get through Spain Spanish. You can get through Spanish on that. 19% coming at you, kids. F-. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Or get 18 concussions, you know.
Yeah, man, did 2 years of German, was president of the club, and then had an entire lifetime happen from 17 to 20 and forgot all of it.
I'm going to say something really specific, and I say it in good spirits. People like you are the reason why I want people who edited the yearbook to do my eulogy.
Oh, it's such a
I think
nice
that's
thing
called
to
a
say.
backhanded compliment. I'm not quite sure, but I mean that in earnest. You can punch me later, anywhere but my face. The 18 concussions, not a joke. I actually have to take Alzheimer's medication because it's got a mood stabilizer, and it helps me work. It helps me walk straight. When I'm not taking it, I didn't take it for the first little bit that I was in Oregon. I fell
3 out
down.
of 4 of these people at the table right now have been on mood stabilizers. I promise.
12 out of it. Yeah, but it's an experimental drug for Alzheimer's. So all the problems I have with it, they were like, we don't know. Our patients are 70. Like, so there's no,
Sorry.
even when there's help for me, there's no real help for me.
Yeah.
It's rough.
I'll cut that out. It's
Why
fine.
did you spill?
It's fine.
This is why we quit sleeping together. As if Josh sleeps. That's the
He
real
teaches
life.
as well as he learns, my friend.
Two truths and a lie. Josh doesn't sleep. Josh hasn't slept with me. We've all worked in the service industry. Oh, those are. Sorry, that was backwards. I was
Josh
like two
doesn't
lies
suck
and
at
a
me either.
truth.
You're not special. He doesn't want to be
What?
a little spoon just because I'm taller than him.
Same. I love wearing guys like backpack. The biggest dick I've ever seen is on a guy that's 5'1".
Dude, jetpacking's awesome. Fuck yeah.
Not when you're a girl. You feel like a freak. My least favorite nickname I've ever had is She Squatch. And at one of my jobs, people called me Larry. Except for Chef, who called me Lawrence. That was my name at a job. Nobody knew my name. I was Larry. Except for Chef. Yeah, you like.
I had a chef
Jesus
Larry
It's
once.
a fucking
Christ.
Tuesday and he's laughing at my pain. Some bullshit.
Man.
When you have a therapist that looks at you that's like, I therapize homeless teenagers. What's so wrong with your life? And I was like, you're right. My fucking bad. My appointment was at 10 o'clock and you called me at 2:30 in the afternoon, but I'm the problem. Got it. American healthcare. Go abroad to see an American doctor.
Dude, my teenage therapist, I stopped seeing her for a while, and then I went back to her. When I went back to her, she had switched to doing therapy for prison inmates. And I'm sitting there like, my mom's mean.
But did she do
Did she? Or me?
I'm
The therapist, your mom, anybody in that story. Did anyone do meth in
I
that
was playing the
story?
role of a therapist, but like, fuck.
Not yet.
I didn't start doing meth till way later.
Just a couple of years.
My DUI therapist, when I went through all of that, her dad had just died, so we cried in sessions together. Like, we would break down and cry. Yeah. Until your dad actually dies, but like people were like, wow, you're being really calm. And I was like, yeah, because my dad looked at me 4 years ago and was like, you're gonna get another 10, 20 years out of me. And there he was playing Xbox below his picture that's of him that's painted, that's been hanging in my childhood home my whole life. And I'm watching my dad, and my dad just looks older, and I was like, fuck, when did he get old? Like, and he turns around and I started crying, like just disheveled, inconsolable wailing.
Oh, man.
Pretty cool that you had a dad.
Well,
Yeah.
Hold on.
What's it like?
Why don't you drink that beer and I'll tell you the rest of the story and you're going to feel like a dick. So my dad looks at me and he's like, you get another 10, 20 years out of me. And I looked at him and I said 4 to 6. He died last year and got ran over by a swather.
A what?
Man.
A swather, like a farm lawnmower. Like the thing in Cars, the thing that played the bull and the tractors, but different.
That's wild.
Yeah, it planted a tire and ran over.
Last
a couple-
year?
Yeah.
So
That's why I don't live in Texas anymore, because I moved back home because I had horses to take care of.
fuck, man.
But he
fucking
had
rough.
a titanium bar in his arm because he got his arm ripped off in a PTO shaft when I was born. And there was a military doctor that went through the hospital and he said, good news, you can rope with a hook. And then there was a military doctor that was like, nah, I can fix it. My dad's arm was hanging on by like 2 nerves and a piece of skin. They put a bar in there and then there was 5 screws in his shoulder. And he was cremated, and I called the people, and I was like, I want the bar in his arm.
Fuck yeah. What'd you do with it?
Let me tell. So I have the bar, and I tapped it
No
up against my
shit.
forehead, and I was like, wow, this feels familiar. And then, but my stepmom gave me half his ashes. She only gave me half, which is fine. My dad he looked like John Goodman with no front teeth. Like, very Jeff Bridges the Dude attitude if he was Sam Elliott. Like, my dad was a gem. And, he was cremated. I get half his ashes, and I was like, well, everybody else is going to want a little bit of them. So I roll on down to the Marshalls that they built in Ontario, and I get a spice rack. There's like 14 containers, and I funnel my father into these containers, and I got all 5 of his screws. My father is a junk drawer. There was 5 screws in his staple that fell out, and I put them in all those jars, and I handed them to like his cousin or cowboy friends. Like, there was one guy that was going around in my dad's service, and he was like, that was my brother, and people are looking at me, and I was like, there's some border collies between us, like, whoopsie daisies. But I actually came to Dallas because I got off probation.
Proud of you.
Yeah.
Probation for what?
All 4 months that I got arrested. Like, so I got to the end of it June 1st,
Word.
flew down to Dallas, and I worked at the. Am I allowed to say where I worked?
You can whatever you're comfortable with.
If you want to. We don't.
It's honestly
I
it's
don't.
whatever you're comfortable with.
It
We don't
isn't-
talk about where we work for good reason. But you can say whatever you want.
It's a popular place. It's in a mall. It smells like a shitty underbelly.
No one's gonna
and
see
the
this
fish
shit,
walk
so.
in. Yeah, no, I worked at the Ocean Air Seafood Room when I got down here, and I was promised a sous chef position. I hauled 16 buckets of ice every single morning and shucked 1 million oysters like fucking Bradley Cooper in third. I did. This scar right here is actually because a Mayflower oyster shattered all over the top, and I shucked all the way through the web of my hand. I shucked.
No shit.
Because I could shuck freaking like a $12 oyster. I could shuck like 24 of them live and on the plate in like less than 2 minutes. I was a shucking
That's
fool.
impressive.
I am a shucking fool. And I don't know why, because in culinary school, the day that we did oysters, I got T-boned by a Chevy Avalanche, so I wasn't even there.
Oh fuck.
So I didn't even know how to shuck an
You're just
oyster.
naturally good at it.
Yeah, I didn't know how to shuck
I
an
hate
Well, that's
oysters.
because
Well,
I
you just fucking
castrated
figure
cats
it
my
out.
whole life, so I
Okay.
think there's some finesse there. It's kind of the same deal. I don't know. As I mentioned, my father didn't have any front teeth, so my mom would be like, "See how he doesn't have any front teeth? I'm gonna knock him in. I knocked him in. You be nice to my daughter." And I was like, "Mom, you're gonna have to tie a freaking ribeye around my neck to get anybody to take me." So, what else do you want to know? Want me to trauma dump? Do you have any good wines?
We talked about earlier.
Wines?
Yeah. Do you ever like drink wine and you're like, "Damn, that was a good wine." and it's stuck
Usually
out?
I buy
usually
wine
I'm
to
like,
cook with.
damn, that was gross.
Yeah.
Usually I buy wine to cook with. I'm like, yeah, I'll buy
And then
this.
we get drunk on it.
That was my gap in
Yeah,
my
I'll make
culinary
one meal,
education.
maybe two, and after that it's gone.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I
drink the
take
rest.
drinking wine very seriously.
I mean,
really
I
don't.
think I might be Jewish, so like I enjoy some wine. I don't know. I know that. I know that I really enjoy some fucking wine.
I really
Okay.
would like to be more familiar with like how to pair wine and like how to taste notes and.
I'm gonna
But there's
put.
like so much shit now, like, you know, it's like strains of weeds. Like, it's got a hint of
Yeah, if you
like
want to be a
Gorilla Glue
jackass
and,
about it,
like,
there's some broad terms that
it's
you can look out
California. It's
You're
perfect.
fine.
Well, yeah,
for. What
man,
was the
I don't
most
know.
lax uniform you got to wear in a kitchen?
Oh, dude, Dickie shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah, jeans
Bro,
and
like,
a cotton t-shirt.
Yeah, you fucking whatever.
Mine was jeans and cotton t-shirt. My first job, pizza place.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything after
I
that
feel
was
like
like.
we've all worked
Oh,
at a
well-
pizza place. You ever worked at a pizza place?
I interviewed at a couple of them, but I never got.
No?
No,
I-
we not like nice pizza places.
No, like-
like either chain or mom
No,
and
no,
pop
it was.
shit show.
I mean, it was a Montana chain, so obviously it was quality. But
Okay.
I mean, they had it dialed in, but it was still just too. It was too. I need space to roam. I can't be confined. Because 12 out of 6 people is dyslexia.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
12 out of 6?
They all go together. I went to go get, so when I moved to Frederick, Maryland for a time and I got to work for Brian Baltaggio and I was making fairly decent money and I decided to go get Invisalign, but I had to go to Washington, D.C. to do it. So I went to Washington, D.C. not on a school trip, so like, and I'm drinking age.
For Invisalign?
Yeah. So I went in there and they scanned
Now
my
you just
mouth
order
and
that
it
shit
was,
online.
yeah, well, thanks for outing how old I am. Why don't you just stamp a father
We're
time?
millennials, bro. We're old.
Yeah, but I'm like a 94 millennial, and there's arguments.
Wait.
I'm
I'm
older
sorry,
too.
94?
Yeah, but I'm a 94 with like 832,000 miles on me. Like I'm.
I'm a 95 with about the same.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, like my fingers don't even know
I was
each other
born in
anymore.
89.
Just
yeah.
Wait. What about your fingers?
they don't know each other. They're like they don't even want to touch each other. They're like, get the
Okay.
hell out of here.
What does that mean?
Dude, I want to do like, I don't know if it's comedy tour or like an autobiography title to a book, but I want to go If My Left Hand Could Talk, because this motherfucker has so many scars and shit because this one's ran around with a knife its whole life. You know, like I have burnt,
That's awesome.
stabbed, mashed.
Yep.
I've done everything to this hand except masturbate because these look like my mom's fingers.
It's
Therapists
always
do
the
not
other
know
hand.
what to do with
It
that.
is
I
always
just
the
come
other
in
hand.
swinging and they have no idea. They're just like, she might not be pure. You have bipolar, and I was like, nope, I'm just French. Cheese eating surrender monkey all the way. Bring me some Gouda and a white flag. I give up. If anybody's listening, I want some 1664 in a glass blue bottle because it smells like peaches and tastes like beer. If that just ended up in the mail for me out of this podcast, I would believe in my ability to get famous while keeping my clothes on. That would restore the faith. I might walk back into a kitchen if somebody bought me some blue 1664s. I would be like, all right, 1664s and like $23 an hour plus dental.
That's all it's gonna take.
I don't know how to unpack this.
And I will not work Sundays.
It's the Lord's Day.
No, it's just like, fuck off. You can't make me do anything on a Sunday. Like, I still need to be able to go branding. If I can't, I want to put burnt calf hair in a candle and just sit there and huff it.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Because I'm trapped between two worlds.
The
I need sweaty chef ass crack yelling at me even though the line is completely clear of any tickets, and it's just gaslighting me into thinking I'm a bad person. And then burnt calf hair. Those are the 2 cents I want. I had a chef, he works for a popular boob restaurant chain now. He's like the training manager. And I went to the place that he was opening, and I saw that they had red tickets and pages of red tickets because everyone misunderstood the assignment. Like, the gal that sat us, I told her, I was just like, oh, we're here to meet Christian. And she goes, oh my God, I'm Christian. And I'm like, oh. So when my friend actually showed up to the table, I was like, oh, I looked back there and I thought that I should go back there and help you, but then I knew you'd put me to work and you weren't going to pay me. He was like, darn right. And I was like, yeah, I always was your favorite horse to just ride straight. And I was making $12 an hour, working 5 days a week, and my paychecks were $1,048. $1,048, $12 an hour, 5 days a week. Do that fucking math, because I worked from 5 o'clock in the morning.
You were working way too many
I
fucking
worked
hours.
till 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday with everybody. The sous chef, the chef, and I would go into the kitchen at 5 o'clock in the morning. The head chef would go home at noon and come back at 4, and the sous chef would go home at 4 for the rest of the day. Meanwhile, I worked from 5 in the morning till 10:30 at night when we closed down. And at the end of the summer, I realized I was doing that, and I had slept on the banquet couch twice because we closed the kitchen at like 2 a.m. and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to catch a 3-hour nap and just work in my clothes. I did that twice that summer.
Dude, I
God
slept in the
damn.
hotel parking lot once because there's no point in driving home. I was there for so long.
No freaking point. So I woke up that day and I looked the sous chef straight in the face and I was like, I'm going home with you today. Screw this guy. I hear that Mount Everest is really beautiful this time of year. He can go fuck all the way off. Like, I'm not doing it. And I had just turned 21 and I was just like, I want to go do alcohol adult things in a town. Okay, so Bozeman, Montana is the 5th drunkest city in the United States, and there are more men than women. Every 1 in 5 men you talk to have been roofied. Like, women are predators too. Like, we just are. And I include myself in that mix, but for other reasons. Anyway, so I told my chef straight to his face, I was like, I'm going home at 4. And he was like, no, you need to come back. And my freaking cooler had broke at the time, and I was working out of 2 Lexans. I had Lexans full of ice, and then I had the shuck oysters, and then I had the dessert station, but I had all the salad stuff, and I was just like, your station. And this is also after I got 4 concussions in 1 year, and I got 2 concussions falling down those goddamn stairs. And the first time, the bouncer from the place next door brought me to the top, and he was like, I found her. I threw up all shift, and they still made me like do my stuff.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So I was just like, fuck your couch. You're closing down my station. I'm going home. And my head chef was like, you need to come back at this such and such time. I said, I'm not going to sit around and make your 2 salads and your 1 creme brulee and your freaking apple Dutch pie that takes 25 minutes because you hate everyone. Like, the people who order that Dutch pie are the same people that order the coca bin. They're like, oh, you have 10 minutes till you close? I want 3 coca bins. And it's like, cool, it takes 45 minutes. You're an asshole. Like, it is what it is. But I came back and closed my station down. I did it for free 50. I didn't even clock in, but that's because I was literally like just not having it. And it was some girl's first day, and she thought I was wild, and the freaking GM called me Barbie because I looked like one of the strippers that worked at a later stripper establishment that I worked at because I got arrested in that town. Like, I'm a $12,000 stripper, and I invented stand-up comedy stripping because I cannot dance. Remember giraffe neck legs? Can't fucking dance. But I would sit down on the tip rail, and I would be like, I'm thinking about renaming my cleavage Disneyland. And they go, why? And I would motorboat them and be like, because it's the happiest place on earth. People be throwing bank cards, firstborn children.
Stand-up
like,
comedy and stripping.
Yeah. And we had smoked steak at that strip house.
I love that.
It was called the yeah, it was like I've worked.
Why haven't we done smoked steak? What the fuck?
Yeah, they smoked their own meat and then cut it and then barbecued it there.
They smoke their own meat at the strip club.
Dude,
Yeah.
what a fucking stand-up strip club that was. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Well, I was the only one that did.
Where
stand-up
was
ever.
this? I need to know.
Where your beer goes, MT. Job opening. Do you guys say that when glass breaks? Because I still do.
What's that?
If I hear glass break in a kitchen, I go, job opening, every time.
Opa. You go,
I used to
"Opa!"
say that when it was in I moved to Texas, and they were like, job opening.
No, I just do
Dude,
a little
I-
reiteration of how expensive shit is in the industry.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're a dentist.
That's
That's what they do. They tell you, they're like, this thing.
Do you know how much that
This
sheet
thing-
pan costs?
They do. It's crazy. Every time that I ever got a job, the GM quit their job as soon as I got there. The GM would work there for 23 years, and they'd be quitting right as I got there. Every single time. The GM would quit, and the Kmart would shut down. You can guarantee you set your watch to it. It's freaking dumb. Yeah, I'm that old.
A weird correlation.
Meth is a hell of a drug.
My chefs at some old restaurant that I worked at.
So do you have any idea how expensive this equipment is?
I remember watching
I mean,
when I worked at Barley. We
sometimes.
had these plates that we called surfboards. They were these long, like weird oblong plates.
And then put
We
them
put
in
like
the dishwasher.
flatbreads and shit on them, right? And they all the plates that we had at Barley were expensive as fuck. They were like fucking $30 a plate. I don't know why. They were like, we had to have these plates. It's like, oh well, that's retarded, but whatever. And I remember watching one of my chefs walk around the corner one time, and he had a stack of these surfboards, and they were like fucking $30, $40 a plate.
Huh?
And he probably had like fucking 15 or 20 of them in a stack, and he's walking around a corner, and he walked around cold side, and I guess he made too sharp of a turn, because like, I don't know, dude, probably 12 of those plates just slid off the top of his fucking stack and hit the floor and shattered into a million pieces. And I watched the life leave this man's eyes. Because he knew, like, dude, that was like $300 worth of plates. You know, like, fuck
Dude.
me, dude. I was like, dude, Dan, I'm so sorry. Like, that's, I don't even know what to say. I just saw, like, he was like, fuck.
That's like the story of my buddy who worked at the wedding place with me. He was a server, and he like just came into the kitchen one day like really upset, and I was like, "Dude, Travis, what's wrong, man?" And he's like, "You don't understand, man. I just dropped and broke 11 centerpiece mirrors. They shattered." And I was like, don't worry about it. Then they'll buy new ones. He's like, "No, you don't understand, man. Every mirror you break is 7 years of bad luck." That's 77 years of bad luck, man. I was like, what? It's just like, I thought you were afraid about like monetary value.
No.
You're all about the superstition.
I don't have the carbon chips for this.
He's like, "Dude, that's 77 years."
How long have you ever held a job, like one kitchen job, not go back
Not
and
long.
collect the beer?
Not long.
No.
I tend to skip. Like, I'll be like, no, I've been here
No,
for a
let me
year.
know.
Fuck this place.
What's the longest?
Honestly, my average is about 6 years.
Job monogamous. Are you okay? Do you-
I've had 4 jobs my entire life.
He's not going gray. I guess he must be doing something right.
No, he's
Yeah,
he's
he
great.
is.
He's
I'm
great.
going gray. I'm going gray.
Yeah,
What about
you got
you?
a bit.
Like 7 years. It's my longest job.
Do either one of you have criminal records?
Like a small
Not
one.
like speeding tickets.
No, well, no.
Nothing fun.
No.
So it's a.
So I've only stayed at a job. I think my max is like 3 years, right? Like I will leave as soon as I'm like, okay, I there's nothing else I can learn from here,
Have you?
or there's nothing else that I'm gonna gain from here. I'll get bored and I'll leave.
Could you?
And I do have an extensive criminal record.
Could you describe my haircut to the audience, please? And then I'm gonna make a statement.
Oh Lord.
No, just like it's short and long. Like
Yeah, it's short on the sides. You look like a fucking. You look like a liberal from Oregon.
it's because I have commitment issues. I have worked at a place 3 weeks shy of a year, and I was reminded because I asked my boss lady if she could give me a letter of recommendation because I worked there for a year, and she shot back at me after I I was in the funny farm, and she tried to get me to come to work, like, and my main boss man was just like, no, you're fine. You're not getting fired. That's a lawsuit. Like, you know, and she was like, well, I can't rightfully recommend you to another employer as your job ended in termination. I was like, so in the entire year we worked together, you can't say, like, 2 nice things and then, like,
So you
something I need
find
to
somebody
work on.
else there.
Yeah, and she was like, well, you didn't work here for a year. And I was like, cool, I'm going to go open up my veins on the Bozeman Courthouse steps and think about my life.
Oh no! Oh no!
It got real for a minute, and the messed up thing. So, like,
Josh,
well, on
I
the
thought
Bozeman
you
Courthouse
were
steps,
enough.
it has a body count. 13
Dude,
people have
dude.
committed suicide on those
I
courthouse
thought
steps.
you were a lot to
It's like
handle.
a thing.
Yeah, I had my moments, man. Like
Both hands in a meat hook
you've known me
Ah.
long enough that you've seen me go through some rough patches, and I feel like I've come a long way. But like I can remember, like you and I both know this story. I was still just a line cook, and some shit happened. I was upset. I decided I was like, fuck it. I hate this place. I'm gonna quit. I don't care anymore. I left. I went out to my car. I was chilling. He came out there.
You angel of mercy. You beautiful bearded man.
He told me that because
I like the guy.
in my rage when I stormed out of this place, I left my knives behind.
Oh, I've gone back in, grabbed my knives, shucked out of my shirt, went back in my bra.
I went out to my car to chain smoke cigarettes and calm down. Right, I was pretty upset.
Those are
And
things
he
that
came
go
out
together.
there and he's like, "Hey man, you okay? You doing okay? Yeah, I'm alright, whatever." And he goes, and I remember asking, I was like, "Hey, like I left my knives inside. I need my knives." And he goes, "HR has your knives."
Oh,
And I was like,
dang it.
"I'm getting my knives back."
Oh.
And he's like, "I don't know if they're gonna give you your knives back." And through the course of this, somebody had called the cops, and the cops had come done a welfare check on me, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine,
Yeah.
you know, whatever." And I told them, I was like, "They have my fucking knives," and the cop was like, "That's your property, man. They gotta give that back to you." And so when I was talking to him, I was like, "Dude, I'm going back in there and get my fucking knives." And he's like, "I don't know if they're gonna give you your knives back." And I was like, "If they don't give me my knives back, I'm gonna come back up here and I'm gonna slit every tire in the parking lot." And he goes, he's like,
With this
he
thumb.
Goes, he goes, I have more knives. And he goes, "I'm parked in the parking lot." I said, "Every tire."
I'll be right back.
And he was like, "Let's go get your knives, buddy." And he took me inside, and I went into HR. They were like, "Would you please sit?" And I said, "No."
Give me my
One time
Give me my
knives
knives, and I'll be
somehow.
on my way.
One time,
And they gave me my knives, and I fucking
What?
left. And like,
I walked into an office one time and looked at the chef all the way across the way, and I went, "Wow, this is the biggest office I've ever been fired in." And he looked at me and he was like, "How did you know?" And I'm all like, "Because that gal that's only had sex the one time with a mustache absolutely hates me, and she was way too excited to tell me to come up here." Like, I'm over it. What is your chef nightmare? Like your one reoccurring
You
freaking
have
nightmare in the
kitchen
kitchen.
dreams.
I do.
You have kitchen dreams
I
a lot.
do,
Tell me your, like, one
but I can't
reoccurring-
remember them right now.
Oh.
What have I told you?
You've
Refresh
told
my
me-
memory.
You told me have dreams about catering events where you haven't gotten a BEO.
Because that shit actually happened.
Because Brittany doesn't call it. Brittany won't fucking email you a BEO, and so you've had dreams about that. You've had
It's
dreams
just
about
like,
not getting a
hey,
catering
what about
BEO?
that one on the 28th? And I'm just like,
What if it is that? I don't even know what that is.
Wait. No, oh my god, dude, no. It's just always
Or
very
like,
vague.
or
It's
when
just
we
like,
need something and you ordered it but it didn't come in. You've had dreams about. Dude, you have all sorts of dreams.
yeah,
Mine-
well,
You
when you
tell me
have to
about them.
oversee all about the shit, dude, like, you're like, and then it starts becoming like, did I do that or was that a dream?
Oh,
Did I order that
not the
or was it
fever
a
dreams.
dream?
Mine that happens is someone uses my knife to open a number 10 can like a savage.
What? That's your worst dream? That's your worst dream?
Oh my god! When
You've
I was
had
in,
so much
when I was
trauma,
in
though.
When I was when I was in culinary
I love
school,
my knives so much.
when I was in culinary school, we had to like do all of our knife cuts, and like I may be concussed, but I am consistent.
Oh my
I try
God.
my best, but I couldn't get all my cuts to ever turn out the same because like fucking onion. Okay, you want me to cut it in a dome, and then it's supposed to come out a square. You just gaslighting me. Fuck you. Nobody cares about this in your life, and
Gaslighting's
I
not
know.
even real. You made it up.
You're right. I'm sorry.
You can't actually dice an onion because you're trying to cut squares out of something that's made out of circles.
My mom was quite the gardener, and she always had these big old squash. So while I was at culinary school, I had these fever dreams about mom's squash, and she brought them to me at culinary school, and I had to cut them at a certain angle in the right time, and that's what I was going to use to practice. And I don't know if you've ever cut a fucking butternut squash, but that gives you carpal tunnel from goddamn hell. So I am in my dream cutting
were
all
just
these
talking about
squashes, trying to figure out how to do.
Don't
And
get me started on
I woke
butternut
up with
squash.
arthritis. I didn't even do it, but my wrists are like, now.
I've
Fucking-
had to
we
peel
we
them.
were gonna do a salad, and I was like, dude, let's put some butter. Let's do a
And
roasted
he
butternut squash
pointed out
salad.
on the map right
No,
where you
hold
to
on,
go
listen.
fuck off.
No.
Like-
So
This is a funny story.
We ordered this. I purposely ordered this butternut squash from Fresh Point.
Pre-diced.
Pre-diced, right? Because I don't want to fuck with it for
Yeah.
that exact reason.
Yeah.
I don't want to
It's a
fuck with it.
bitch.
But I need it. I need it so I can roast it off for the salad. I think we ended up changing last minute because we didn't get it in time.
We didn't have it in time, so we went with something else.
But then I get my butternut squash, and I'm like, okay, cool. And it just sits in the walk-in for like a week, and it's butternut squash. It'll hold.
The moment that we got it,
So
it was
I go in
when
one
we were
day,
prepared to do
and
something else.
I'm there's not a lot going on. I was like, do you know what? And I wasn't feeling well, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make fucking soup because one of my favorite things in the world to make is a butternut squash bisque. It's kind of spicy. It's nice. It's
You
lovely.
really are
Yeah.
Jewish.
Yeah. I'm
More
a
for
Jew.
the fall. For the fall
And
than-
so I go into the walk-in. I grab this case of butternut squash. I open it up, and it says on the fucking label, butternut squash. And I take it out, I open it up, and I look at it, and it's fucking zucchini.
backpack.
And it's been in there for a week, so it's not even good anymore. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was so mad. I didn't even take a picture because I was like, I should send this to my fucking Fresh Point rep.
Yeah.
I should send this to JD and let him know, like, hey man, like, what the fuck is this? I was so mad about it. I didn't even do that. I just threw it in the fucking trash and was like, fuck this.
His favorite thing in kitchens, especially being classically trained, like being proper classically trained, you know all the French terms. And I was working in a kitchen one time, and my chef, because when you look at people that graduated from CIA, people who are closer to their 50s, they're actually accredited. People in their like late 30s,
Yeah.
like early 40s to late 30s, they're like, eh. And then anybody my age, you're like, you went to CIA, go fuck off. Like,
Right.
right? So this
We
was a
used to
guy
say
that you
herd
respected
CIA.
because he was dangerously close to like 45. And it was 2015, and he looked at me and he was like, go grab the 2 wheels. Well, the kitchen was as big as this kitchen, and the dry storage was like a shelf and then 2 of the reach-in freezers. And he was like, go grab the 2 wheels. And I said, okay, no problem. I said, where are they? He said, in dry storage. So here I am, looking at these 2 fucking shelves in dry storage in this tiny little walkway. Like, I have to push my boobs down, push them underneath my armpits to fit in here. And I am fucking looking for these goddamn 2 wheels, and I cannot find them. And I was like, are they in a container? Are they still on a sheet tray? Like,
What
where
kind
are
of
these
2
2
wheels?
wheels?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what kind
So
of wheels?
I lean around the corner.
And explain what a
no,
tweel
no.
is for anyone who doesn't understand.
Wheels.
So
He does.
2
love
wheels are
his
basically
wheels.
fortune cookies. You have like 2 seconds after they come out of the oven to form them. They are
Mm-hmm.
a sugar hard cookie. So I am looking for a fucking cookie in dry storage because I was told that's where they were. This motherfucker comes around the corner, and mind you, this is a man who would let me wield his Gustavs, and I made scallop crudo. And I was the one that taught everybody to shuck an oyster, and I cleaned a mop sink in front of Michael Keaton and got yelled at all at the same job. Michael Keaton went to my sister's gym. I did not care. I cleaned.
It's kind of fucking rad.
Anyway, so he comes around the corner and he pulls chocolate fans out of the freezer on a sheet tray. And he looked at me and I said, to wheels. And I said, no, chocolate fans. And I was like, you had me over here for 10 minutes looking for 2 wheels. And you were talking about chocolate fans. And he goes, yeah, chocolate 2 wheels. I was like, I'll kill you.
Well, he told you dry storage.
Yeah. But he meant the walk-in or the reach-in freezer where the fans were. And it happened to me at so many jobs. It'd be like, go grab the mayonnaise, and I'd walk into the freezer and have like a fucking meltdown because I didn't know if it was a bucket, the gallon, or do you make your own mayonnaise? Like, do you have to call it mayonnaise because that's what everyone else in the kitchen understand, but it's really aioli?
What am I
like,
looking for?
Yeah, like,
That's why I'm always like overly detailed on like my instructions, and then it's like,
did you ever
you're
send,
mansplaining though.
did you ever send anybody looking for the bacon stretcher?
No,
Or to see if the canning mix was still good?
no, but I have.
Or to mop the walk-in freezer floor?
No, I've
Oh,
had
you're
people
so
do that
nice.
with. I've had people
It's
try
like
to
looking
empty
for
out the
the
hot water from the
forklift
tea
air pump?
machine.
Do what?
Empty water from the tea machine. Hot water from the tea machine.
I actually got a manager with that to see how dumb she was. She asked me what I did all day, and I said I emptied hot water from the tea machine, and she was just like, "Oh, thanks you. I don't know the last time." I'm like,
told
"Go
me-
stick your lips in another pool."
They told me
drain."
they used to get guys to take a trash bag and go into the walk-in and expunge the stale air.
Oh,
trash bag?
I have seen that.
And then so at this
Memory
workplace I worked,
unlocked.
we had a walk-in, and on the outside on the temperature panel there was a little red button. It almost looked like a light, but it wasn't a light, never lit up. But you could push it a little bit and it would click, make a little click noise, like you could feel it click.
Yeah.
And we were like in the middle of plate up one day, and the walk-in like temperature was a little high, and I was like, "Hey, Preston," this like 19-year-old kid, I was like, "Hey man, go hold that fucking red button right there until the temperature goes back down to under 41 degrees." Or like whatever it was at. I can't remember what it was at. It's like running a little high, so I'll hold it, and he stood there and held it for a long time. You know,
Do you want to hear a story I've never
I've
told
done
anybody?
much worse things.
Yes, please.
I've never told anybody this story ever. So when I was in culinary school, our whole thing was shaped in like a square, and there was the baking shop, the one that we had. There was a kitchen in the middle, and then the event center, and then like the classrooms to do math and stuff in, like whatever, right? So between these two rooms, there was a walk-in on each side, but the freezer connected them. Okay, we called it Narnia. Really, really irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. But I walked into the walk-in fridge, and everybody had left. And I don't know if anybody's attended culinary school or just been in school where you're like self-conscious and you wait for somebody else to go first before you like go in. When the teacher's like, "Okay, you saw me do it, you do it now," and you have to like wait for that one brave one to go first. I was like that 3,000% of the time. Like my chef, when I graduated culinary school, she looked at me and she was like, "You're not going to do well in this industry." I got a 97%, and she was just like, "You are one of the best cooks I've ever had," because you had to work for her.
Yeah.
And she told me, she's like, "You're one of the best chefs I've ever graduated out of this school, but you are not going to do well." She's like, "You're way too emotional." And I was like, "Thanks."
Damn.
Well, if we could just make these chef coats low cut, it'd be a whole other story. Thanks, chef. Like stand-up comedy culinary or whatever, like, or stripping culinary. Well, anyway, I digress. But it was like in the first few days of culinary school, and I walked into this walk-in and the door shut, and all of a sudden I'm the only person in there, and I cannot figure out how to get out. I can't. I don't know how to get out of this walk-in. So what I did, I followed the crack of the door, and I got to the bottom of the door, and I started pulling in. And I couldn't get out, and somebody actually popped the latch in the walk-in freezer. I was 80 degrees and bright red because I literally could not figure out a door. When I was in culinary school, another time, they brought a salmon into school, like a salmon in its entirety, like the whole salmon, because you need to know how to pull out the guts and dress it and do all the French things, right?
Right.
And I walked into school one day, and I look at the salmon, and I pick it up, and I'm looking at it, and chef's like, "What are you doing?" And I was just like, I didn't know salmon had teeth. I didn't know salmon had this. And she goes like, "Oh my God." And I was like, "I'm a desert rat." Like, and this is, whatever the age gap between 18 and 21 before, like, I'm still under the belief that Hennessy is a drug. Like, it's still 4 more years before I'm today years old that I found that out, you know, like, poor sweet little Laura. She had a hard time. I dealt with the inner child. Now I'm just dealing with the one-strapping teenager. She's a real bitch. Like, it's rough.
I remember my first experience being locked in a walk-in.
Uh-oh.
It wasn't
got
me.
locked in a walk-in?
No, it wasn't me.
Oh,
Me and Jake. Remember Jake?
you were there? No.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
I know
we
Jake.
were out in the kitchen, and we just so happened to have this like little hallway, L-shaped hallway from the kitchen down the way, and we were like just doing our prep, jamming the music, and all of a sudden we hear like this banging and like this noise, right? And we look over, and just so happens that we can see the walk-in window, and there's this sweet little innocent server. She's in there. She's like, help, help, help! so wait, dude. I think that girl's locked in the. She thinks she's locked in the walk-in. So Jake goes over there, and he goes in, and he closes the door behind him. And he's like, "What's the matter?" And she's all in the corner, like.
Show me on the doll where the bad man
And
touched
he goes,
you.
"Look, no, wait. I'm sorry. Just look, look." And he pushes the door open. There's no latch. There's no handle. You just push it open. And she was like, "Oh my god!" She was like still afraid in the back, like she wanted to leave, but she didn't think she could. And it was beautiful.
It
Honestly, it
happens
was
to the best of
so
us.
fucking
That's
funny.
fucking funny.
So fucking funny. And then you teach them about the part that you can unscrew that glows in the dark. It's nice and pretty.
I started eating in the fish walk-in. It didn't bother me after a while. People are like, huh? And I'm just like, what? I live here.
Dude, I remember at one of the old restaurants I worked at with Joe, who's on this podcast with me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There was we would make our own like balsamic reduction, right? And so it would get thick and syrupy.
I remember my
and
first beer.
It fucking it smells like a balsamic so strongly, and somebody had made some and put it in a 6-pan and just like. They didn't wrap it up or nothing. It was just like up on the fucking shelf. And I went over there to pull down a bag of fucking risotto, and this fucking 6-pan of balsamic reduction just spilled everywhere. And dude, the kitchen smelled like balsamic vinaigrette for fucking weeks, and I was furious.
It happens to the best of us.
Pissed me off.
I just remembered a total squirrel moment. So when you go to culinary school and you're during orientation, they have all your instructors go up there. And there was one instructor that told me, because you guys were like, oh, you went to culinary school? Our chef went up there, and she was just like, the only reason you're paying $26,000 is so you don't have to start in the dish pit. And she was not wrong.
Shit, dude.
She was just like, it's so you can start on salad station. You're
advise people
welcome.
to start in the dish pit.
Dude, I mean, even without culinary school, I started on the fucking
Well,
cold side.
Well,
Doing flatbreads and charcuterie boards.
We had an event. There was like 4 events that you get to do all throughout culinary school. And that first event, she forgot to sign me to a table. So like the morning and night classes come together and they sign you off in tables, and then you work on the table. I didn't get assigned to the table. So I just went into the dish pit, and for 6 whole tables, I rocked it. I wasn't drying anything, so I kept throwing everything on the dry table, but I was running the dishwasher and doing the 3 sinks all by myself. And then Chef Duval looked at me, and she was just like, Harper, you've been doing dishes this whole time? I said, yeah, you didn't assign me to a table. And she looked around, she was like, oh my God. And I'm like, the cooking's over, chef. And she was like, everybody, get over here and help Harper. And I was just like, nah, just go dry stuff. Stay the fuck out of my way. Like, I am a baller at doing dishes. I got to do dishes at a job one time for my line cook wage. I was like a $17 an hour dishwasher.
Oh, hell yeah.
In 2015.
Hell yeah.
Except for the 4th concussion that I got in the year of concussions, I had put one of those long cutting boards up, and a 8-quart heavy bottom French stock pot bounced off my noggin. And I got knocked out in the dish pit, and the lady chef comes by and she goes, why are you laying down? And I'm like, because we don't have medical, and I'm not getting up that fast.
Did you fall? Why are you laying down?
Yeah, just
How did you?
That-
you've done stand-up comedy. How did you get into stand-up comedy? When did that start?
Well, because of that lady, the same lady that asked me why I was laying down, one day she made oxtail broth, and when she made it the first time and I tried it, I said I wouldn't pay money for it. So I think that's kind of one of the precursors to my career, but she really inspired me, because one day she looked at me in the kitchen after the guy who made the oxtail broth left, and she couldn't figure out why it was cloudy. And she would take one of those big crock pots and picture an onion in its entirety. She would cut off the top, have it with the root still on it, and she would toss it in this giant pot, and then set it on the pilot lights on the fucking grill. And that was her oxtail broth. So it got cloudy in a day or two because it was rancid because she didn't know what to do with the bones.
Jesus
so this is a woman who
Oh.
constantly screamed in my face. She was like, She's like, I'm 44 and you're 22. You're half my age. I catered with my broken foot and my kid on my back. And that's the first time that I said, I'm sorry that I took the expressway and paid for college. But she looked at me one day and I was trying to pretend like she was going to teach me something. And I was just like, I'm like, why don't you ever peel anything? Like, why don't you peel your carrots and your onions? And she, no joke, looked me in my face and she said, that's the Asian way of doing it. I don't get French cooking. It's never touched Asian culture.
What the fuck?
What is a banh mi?
It's Asian cuisine that has touched French culture.
She took a primal of ribeyes, and I was cutting off the spare meat, the fat cap, and broke these ribeyes down, right? She saw me doing that, and she was like, who taught you that? And I was like, school and your main man that you love so much. And she had one of the other prep cooks do it, and they did the whole length of the primal. So when you have like a 15-ounce steak for the whole length of the primal, it's like this thin, right?
Which cut?
The ribeyes with the fat cut.
Okay.
Yeah, she didn't cut the rib meat off or the fat cap, and she was getting, and she told me that the reason why the grill was catching fire is because I couldn't turn steaks. She was like,
fucking fat
yeah, so I cut off so mom and dad were fighting one day, and I cut all the fat off of one of those steaks, and I said 7.5 ounces of your 12-ounce steak is nothing but fat. You choose $32 for this, I'm gonna walk. And she was like, bye, and my other boss was like, no, it's fine, we'll fix it, Like, I will budge on so many things in a kitchen. I will budge on so many things. But honesty to the product, just because I am a cattle rancher, and sanitation. Like, they joke on the ranch all the time that I'm the OSHA officer, because I'm just like, the cows don't know the exit strategy. There's no posted exits. Where's your sandy buckets? Like, we got, like, I give people shit all the time. Like, everyone now is just like, oh, the cows need to have an HR meeting. Like,
well, hell yeah, though.
yeah, because that's just
introduce them to another.
You can call a chocolate fan a
level.
Tawil. I'll let that slide. But if you're gonna be over here pointing crab legs straight up in the air and your display and still try to serve those to people, I'll kill you. Like, I have very few boundaries, and my standard for men, you have to pick up out of the dirt and dust that bar off. But I never once sacrificed a cleanliness in a kitchen. Like, that was always where I stood, and that's what wore me down the most in this industry, because they just do not listen. They'll just throw it to the wayside, and they're like, oh, these are black and red numbers on a spreadsheet, and that's that. And I never could fit into that box.
Yeah.
And I was never going to get a hometown thing. And food trucks are great. Food trucks are awesome, but if you don't outright own one, they're pretty miserable to work on. So
that's why if we ever start a food truck, like, make Bryson work that bitch. Like,
and we're
I'll pay you
allowed to
more
be
than you
as
make
rude to the
now,
customers as you want to be, because fuck
it's a
those
food truck.
guys.
Yeah, because it's yours. They don't have to come back.
I would want a waffle food truck.
Dude, one of my ideas for a food truck has always been like just doing like different variations of chicken and waffles.
Well, yeah, I made a sourdough waffle
know,
that you
do,
can
like,
put
the
lunch meat
traditional
in.
chicken and waffle. You could do a banh mi chicken and waffle.
Yeah, you could.
With like pickled carrots and fucking daikon.
Hell yeah, brother.
Dude, it'd just be so good.
Yeah.
Be
What
so
would you
fucking
call
good.
it?
I don't fucking know.
All I know is on the back of the shirts it needs to say, I need an adult. And then if I ever own an oyster joint, it's going to say we give great head, because it'll obviously be beer and oysters. Because oysters are an aphrodisiac. It'll really separate the scholars from the boys. Like,
If I ever open up some shit, I will let you know.
thank you. I would love to
I'll
guest
get
chef
you
to all
back
kinds
into
of
the
places.
kitchen. I'll get you back into the kitchen. I swear to God, I will.
You guys do your best. I throw so many parties in a year. People are just like, I'm gonna start posting my Venmo at the front door, and they could just donate on their way in. Because I used to be able to feed people for like $200. I could throw a party of 50 for like $200 and make some badass main course with me, and then like a couple of sides. And like one year, I did a beet and arugula salad. I had no leftovers. Like, I could rub powdered sugar and parsley on a dog turd and you'd eat it. Like, I just wake up in shit excellence. Like, I can do this. It's just no one's ever been able to tolerate me. So here I sit, a broke
You're not
cowboy.
bad. You're not too bad.
Yeah. Not too bad.
I've seen you do a lot of. I've been to a couple of your stand-up shows.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen you perform at a few small venues. Your shit's fucking funny.
I choke as many times as I do great, you know? Like, that invisible dick of stage fright will just come and whip you right in the fucking face. It's just, it's rough.
What made you want to get into, like, stand-up comedy and stuff?
Trauma.
Trauma?
Everyone my whole life has always been like, oh, you could be on America's Next Top Model. And then I turned 17 and they're like, you should just be a comedian. And I'm all like, all right. I got a face for radio. You can just say it. Like, it's fine. It's totally fine.
You've been doing that for a hot minute now, though. Like, you still do stand-up shows?
No, because I moved into the middle of nowhere. But I will be at the Tuesday night shit show tomorrow night. Southside Cellar. Ian's a great guy. Like, the whole comedian community in DFW, there's actually a real home for it. There's DFW comedians page, and they have a spreadsheet they'll send you, and it constantly is updated. But like, if you didn't pass Excel, you'll have a hard time. So but like, I've had a great time, and they're so resourceful, and I was too ugly for Dallas and too pretty for Fort Worth. That's I have all my teeth, but they're not in a straight line, and then I just have legs and no one can reach, so everybody's just bitching all the way around.
That's so funny.
It's some shit. Texas is a whole other deal.
Yeah. Do you miss it here? You glad to be back?
I miss people, but I don't.
You don't miss the state? You miss the weather?
It's
fucking what?
Texas is like
90 degrees today. It was
moving from the north to the south is like going to a strip club and everybody's flat chested. Like, I'm visually underwhelmed by the Texas scape, you know? Like,
Okay.
I miss my mountains and I miss just being able to be feral.
Yeah. Tell me about your hate for Yellowstone. Why do you hate that show?
So I'm trying to take the long way around, because people told me if I started at 1883 and worked my way up, I would have a good time. And I did watch 1883 and I did enjoy it. However, I remember the adverts for Yellowstone. Like, that's right when the internet almost didn't have control over everything. Like, before Disney bought out Bezos. Like, that's where we were at. And you could see the adverts for Yellowstone, and it was like it was going to be the most accurate cowboy show ever, and it was going to be all this stuff, right? And Kevin Costner was in it. And Kevin Costner kind of gives two shits because he was in Open Range and Dances with Wolves and Waterworld. That's terribly accurate. Right. That could happen. So, like, you know.
I know Shakespeare.
Yeah, he's everything. So 2, maybe 3 years goes by, and then Peacock comes out, you know, and I have Peacock, and oh my God, you get to watch Yellowstone. So I was like, cool, today's the day. 3 years after that show came out, I'm finally going to watch it because I'm a hipster. I can't do anything when it's cool. So I was like, I'm going to watch this show. The first 20 seconds of that show, a horse dies. And then I got 14 minutes into that show, and I was with it. I could have excused so many things, but the fact that it was advertised as the most accurate Western show ever, and the main guy backs this door-kicking, gonna eat your Mustang, and he does pull into the corral, which is very accurate. That's exactly what you would do if you had a wild horse. And he gets in the trailer and he goes, whoa, whoa. And then he unties the halter and backs him out. And it's not so much that he backs him out. If they had stayed on the wide angle and backed the horse out, I'd be like, okay, they just don't want you to know that horses can actually fucking kill you. Like, whatever. But it's the fact that the cinematography instructor, I think he's called a director, I don't care, he decided that there was going to be a camera angle underneath the trailer on these horses' feet as he backed out. And he's got perfectly shod feet. Like, he's got perfect feet. And I immediately turned it off and I said nope, because PETA, they are feeding into PETA's image. PETA doesn't understand that if you don't shoe horses' feet like that, they are flaky. They're shitty and flaky and awful. So I was like, no, I'm not having this. And then like a year and a half later, I was like, all right, I got 14 minutes into it. I'll try to finish the rest of the episode. And then when they branded the meth head, I was like, y'all are fucking dumb. I'm out. Like,
I mean, they obviously can't just have like a wild horse like.
but
on
you could
camera,
make it
though.
a tiny bit. You could have just hooped and hollered that horse out of the
To be
trailer.
fair, Jimmy ends up being a really good character.
I don't care. Nobody told me about Teeter. If I had known
Teeter's
about,
awesome,
if I had
dude.
known about Teeter, I might have been a little more
I knew
lenient.
a
But
couple of Teeters where I grew up. Like,
but-
they're fucking great.
But like I can't even. I've been shown highlights, and I just like one of my friends back home. He was just like, "Oh, you hate Yellowstone? Well, it's not like I watch Mickey Mouse and go, that's a hell of a feller. I hope I get to meet him in real life." And I was like, it is not the same. I was like, these motherfuckers are out here being like, this is the real way to do it, and it's just like, yeah, in the 70s maybe, but nowadays we don't get to do stuff like that, and there's like a branding episode where they're supposed to get in like 1,400 head, and Taylor Sheridan, he shows you 200 head of cows, and all the actors are just like, that's 1,700 head of cows, and I was just like, you're gonna make everybody think that they can own cows, because Yellowstone, before I watched the show, single-handedly ruined Bozeman, Montana. That airport is 7 gates. It looks like a cigar hunting lodge. There's a stuffed animal motif
Hell
and
yeah.
all the things. You know, it's very very Yellowstone. But when you land there now, everybody got on Amazon and ran them out of those flat billed hats and those Pendleton-looking trench coats and the stupid-ass boots. And everybody there bought a bunch of houses and then realized it snows 18 months out of the year. They crashed the economy single-handedly on their own, and it's Yellowstone's fault.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to have clean drinking water, and everybody calls me a liberal. So do with that information what you want.
Like, I
Yeah.
take away from that show that I did, like being a martial arts guy watching fight. It's just like there's things they get right, but a majority of it's gonna be, you know.
I wouldn't even care if they were like, hey, we're going to make a country adjacent show. I'd be like, cool. But it's the fact that they were like, this is going to be the most accurate thing ever. It's like, so Chef was good. Chef made me cry.
I loved that.
But
movie.
Burnt?
I loved
Fucking
it.
Burnt was
Burnt
so...
was rushed.
Yeah, but Burnt was a little more accurate than Chef.
Yeah.
Like, Chef made you hurt you real good in your feel goods.
I just felt like Burnt was rushed.
Burnt was rushed, but like, how are you supposed to... it's a pipe dream. I know this is completely derailing. It's a pipe dream to be the first Food Network star on Dancing with the Stars. I think I could do it. Anyway, I think Burnt, I mean, it's better than No Reservations. Who has 3 different restaurant concepts by turning a fucking wheel? Like,
Yeah.
do you even know that movie?
No.
Got Catherine Zeta-Jones, the guy that played Harvey Dent in the Christian Bale movie, and she has like a daughter, and at the end of the movie they have a third of a wheel cut out, and they spin it to see whose concept gets cooked today. Yeah, like who does
That's
that?
dumb.
Yeah
That's
exactly.
dumb. Chef was great. I love Chef. We make a lot of jokes about Chef. Like we've been struggling with lava cakes lately, and so the joke lately is it's fucking molten.
Yeah,
It's
well,
fucking molten.
You're not getting to me.
That's one of the few movies that have actually made me feel actual feelings. There's that scene where he's like talking to his kid. He's like, "Listen," he's like, "I'm not good at much, but I'm good at this." And that scene, you know which scene I'm talking about. That scene gets to me. Because like I feel that in my soul. Like I'm not good at much, but I think I'm good at this.
I saw The Resident lately, that really fun like whodunit clue show on Netflix, and the chef is literally that chef that makes all of us look so bad.
Did you ever see The Menu?
Oh.
It was like it was dark.
Have you seen that one where Ewan McGregor goes like deaf and the whole world loses his senses,
the
but he's a
Perfect
chef?
Sense. I've heard about that. I've never seen it.
You have to watch it as a chef.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about
because
it. I
like
really
they
wanna
lose
see
their
it.
hearing, and
Sounds
he
so
like,
fucking depressing.
oh, it's so
they lose
good.
their senses one by one, right?
Yeah,
And then
but
like,
they
it's
keep
taste,
picking
and
the
so
kid.
there's like dudes drinking olive oil.
No, the hearing one's the worst because they're literally like eating kitchen equipment off the kitchen trying to hear it. Like, it's a really powerful scene. I enjoyed it.
It sounds super like depressing.
I recommend
I've
watching it
avoided
once. When you have high dopamine, like when you've gotten enough sun and you ate a brownie, like just for the pure enjoyment of the chocolate, and then a nice little piece of steak and some great mashed potatoes, then watch that movie, because you got a long ways to go.
Yeah, no, it sounds like, honestly, like watching that, it sounds like it give me the same feels as Melancholia. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Mm-mm.
That movie's, it's like kind of fucked up.
Ugh.
But like really, like just based by the name, you probably
I can gather.
Can guess like how it's gonna make you feel by the end of it.
By
It's
deductive
like,
reasoning, it sounds like it sucks and is gonna make me sad.
Yeah, it's gonna make you like, man, why? Yeah, it's a good movie, but
is there a reality show that you ever wanted? I always wanted to do Chopped. I always wanted to do Chopped.
no, honestly, out of reality shows, I would have.
We couldn't
much
make it on-
rather have done a survival show than a reality.
No, you got to pick a cooking reality show.
Reality show.
We couldn't be on Hell's Kitchen
Well,
because
if
we
there
know
was
what we're
one
doing.
about fucking making shit in the fucking wilderness, then
Oh, that's
maybe I'd
true.
try.
But I always thought Chopped would be fun. I always wanted to go on Chopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had friends tell me that I should go in like Hell's Kitchen or whatever. And I'm like, dude,
No, we know what we're doing. We're
I
not
would
allowed.
fight Gordon Ramsay in a parking lot.
So when I was 19 and I was looking for my externship, I actually applied through an agency that did reality shows because I thought about being the Bachelorette for a little bit. But I wanted to be on Hell's Kitchen, and I made it through the second round of interviews, and they were like, wait, how old are you? And I was like, I'm only 19. You're supposed to be 21. And I was like, you have to be 21 to get yelled at? Like, that's some shit. Hate that.
I've been getting yelled at my whole life. What
Well,
do you mean?
And the gal was like, you get yelled at by Gordon on the show. How would you combat that? And I said, I'd wait for him to calm down and then go get a Costco size of ibuprofen and walk up to him and be like, I think you need this. And she was like, oh my God, you have the personality for TV. And I was like, yep, and I got a face for radio. Let's go. Like, climb to the bottom of this bucket of chicken. All you're going to find is legs till I'm 70, and then I'll have wangs. It's one of my new favorite jokes. I worked on that one in the desert. Thanks, guys, for that smattering of laughter. Yeah. You laughed at the JFK one. That's really all that matters.
pretty good. Are you going to be getting back into stand-up comedy anytime soon?
I have to drive all the way to Boise. Anybody want to front me some gas money or just fly me down here to do this podcast? Like, I'll be here.
Dude, we would love to have you back for sure. We already know this is
I won't fly Frontier or Spirit. Please just splurge the extra $80 and let me fly American.
Man, I flew Frontier for the first time last year.
And you
it was
hated
such
it.
a wild experience. Like,
From where to where?
I saw shit I have never witnessed in an airport before. Like, this motherfucker got off the plane holding a garbage bag of clothes. A literal garbage bag of clothing.
Dude, that's an actual panhandler that saved up money.
I was like, what the fuck? Granted, I'm sitting there with a box that has like 5 fucking plants in it. But
Those are plants.
like,
You're gonna spread life.
it's the wildest shit. There's a woman sitting there with an ankle monitor on, and I was like, are you even allowed to fucking be here? Or like, are we about to get raided? Like,
Is that a bomb? We don't
It's gonna
know.
blow up.
Oh, fuck. Must work in the service industry. You have a locator
On the
bracelet.
plane.
no, she was waiting with her family and then got in line to get on the plane with me. This was when I was flying to go see Jenny.
It's just her, not her family.
No, she went and her family, but like we were just sitting there.
Or were
and I'm,
those
like,
her
on the
probation
floor reading a
officers wearing
book,
khaki shorts?
And I looked
Like,
over and see it, and I was like, this could go really poorly.
That was probably a YouTube prank. I'm gonna do that next time we go to the airport. Just get a little ankle bracelet. Looks like a fucking
Yeah, Frontier was wild.
Apple
And then
Watch.
charged
Yeah.
a stupid amount of money to check a bag.
yeah, they're like, oh, you have
Insane.
2 butt cheeks. We're gonna charge
Oh,
you
yeah.
for one of those.
I'm sorry, you need a
Didn't know they
bag
gave you
that's
pairs.
bigger than this dimension for a week-long trip? Go fuck yourself.
You took a shit before you went into TSA. We're gonna charge you for that. Like, Frontier is awful.
I would have thrown my fucking backpack than it did me.
Actually, though.
Yeah. No, genuinely. Like, the flight for me, all around round trip was like $80 for my backpack, it was like 180.
Yeah, dude.
I had to cram all my. I was going with my girlfriend.
Because they had
Did they
guns
give
in
it
there,
a little
right?
facial mask and a foot rub, or like?
It was a fucking carry-on. It was a backpack. It
That's
wasn't even a
hilarious.
suitcase.
You're like, I don't even weigh extra. What the hell?
Dude, I had an $85 round trip ticket, and it cost me like $65 to check my bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I said splurge the extra $50 and let me fly American, please. I'll even fly in through DFW. I don't even
Well,
need to
dude,
go
it's
to
totally
Leadville. I'll walk here. I'll walk here. It's
Totally
fine.
worth it.
I'll call Tomo. I feel like I need a ride from the airport. Oh, shit. So every time I switch therapists, they'll be like, "Oh, the intake exam is only an hour," and I said, "You're gonna want to." I've said that to the last 3, and they always
You don't
end up-
want to.
Yeah, I've said that to the last 3, and they take 2.5 hours because I know how long that like thing is, and they always like look at an hour and
Got a
they're
lot
like,
to
"Oh."
unpack.
It always
there.
takes like 2 or 3 sessions
Yeah.
to like.
No, I make them
kinda
do
get
it all at
into
once.
it, but yeah, I just break it up.
I just
It's
Hadouken them with my
episodic.
trauma, and they can fucking deal.
I just break it up in like early days, teen years, and then like current day.
Nope, I just
Make
I
different
just
podcast
I just jump
episodes
around.
out
I'm
of it.
like, here's some of season 1, and then here's season 12, and then there's season 3, and then here's episode 9 of season 8.
Oh,
Like,
so like
it's all
Slaughterhouse
tied
5
into each
all
other.
about it.
pretty much like a choose your own adventure book. Like, just roll the dice and. Yeah, I read books.
Wait,
Not very
did you get
well,
that?
but I did my
Okay,
best.
awesome. Somebody did.
The first thing I did that I noticed that was kind of weird when I got home is I hauled out in a Scottish accent for an entire game of pool. And my friend's friend that was with her, she was like, "Oh my God, this lady is hilarious." And my friend who's known me since I was a child, she was just like, "She does this all the time." And I was like, "I haven't done this in years." Like, weird. It's weird what happens when you go home and you're like comfortable. It's very odd.
I don't even remember how I met you.
I'm sure it was a Killer's Tacos thing.
Probably, yeah.
I got to do a service announcement into the camera because I ended up dating a guy that I thought was the flannel guy, and it wasn't the flannel guy. There was a flannel guy. You would have been there like late fall. You were about 6'2". You had blonde, and I told you to go get a real man's hair color. You were very attractive. I would love that luxurious, too long of a hug ever again. If you remember me, call this man's number. We'll flash it down here. And you can just call him, and then when they fly me in, you can be here, and we'll do a reveal, and it will literally, like, Mario will be like, "Well, the lie detector test determined he is flannel guy," and I'm literally gonna swoon. This podcast might become porn after that, you know, it's like,
Anything is possible.
oh, that flannel guy.
Anybody else need a beer?
Yes, may I have a Montucky, please?
Yeah,
We're
Montucky.
not
I'll
sponsored.
I'll take a Montucky.
3 Montucky.
I would like a
Awesome.
cold snack.
Ace Perry?
Yeah, another one of my infused ones would be good. My infused beverage.
One time when I come down here, I'll have to bring the blackberry moonshine, and we'll smoke it, and we'll just go down the way.
Yes.
That's what we
absolutely.
do
I
in
don't
the
even know what
Eastern
that
Oregon.
Means, but yeah.
Wait.
What is this?
There's one mosaic.
Montucky.
Smoking moonshine?
I would, yeah. There's a man that makes his own moonshine. His name is Todd Turdley.
So is it like a moonshine vape?
No, he
Can
like
he make
distills
moonshine
and
vapes?
makes his own moonshine. And
Can
even
he just make smokable alcohol? Vape
Well,
form?
no,
You know,
no.
If you
Sorry.
pour alcohol onto dry ice, you can inhale.
Sorry,
that.
sorry,
And
sorry.
you can get
I
fucked
see
up.
I see what you're saying now. No, it's one of those smoker cocktail kits where you like put the thing down and you light, and it's like on top of it, or they smoke the glass first. Have you not seen?
Oh,
those?
yeah, I've seen that. Like
Yeah, yeah,
smoking glass
that's what I-
first.
that's
okay.
what I-
No, have you ever had a Vaportini?
No.
No.
No,
Yeah,
I'm talking about
Vaportini.
inhalable alcohol. Is what I'm
Yeah,
talking
no,
about.
it is.
Oh.
It's a little rig, and you pour your liquor in it or whatever, and there's a little fire under it, and it evaporates it, and then there's a little glass straw, and you fucking inhale that shit.
You're telling
That
me.
sounds
Effectively.
awful.
Yeah, no,
You're-
I've had one before.
It
It's
sounds like a very
You're
like
freebasing
economic use
alcohol.
of it.
I would like to
Fucking
make a
hot rails
small
and booze real
service
quick.
announcement. If the speakeasy downtown could bring back the Narciso so I could drink an egg white beverage unabashedly that looks like freaking dishwater, I would appreciate that.
Flair.
You want the people
Do
around.
I not have enough flair?
I'm talking about the drink.
Did you know that movie starts out on 635?
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Movie?
Yeah. Office Space? Is this
No
not
shit.
enough flair
No shit.
for you? Oh my god.
That's what that
I'm thinking about naming my daughter Gonorrhea. It sounds like a pretty. Name that movie or you ain't no chef.
I've always wanted to name my daughter Felony. It's a really pretty name.
You have to name that movie or you ain't no chef.
Hang on, say it again.
I'm thinking about naming my daughter Chlamydia because it's a pretty name. You're
Is
like
it
this.
fucking waiting?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was a lucky honest yes. I haven't seen the whole
Well, the
thing.
next one I was gonna be like, you're like having the smartest kid with Down syndrome. That he says
Yeah, I've
to
seen that
Dane
movie
Cook.
so long, but it is a good one.
It is.
It's a
It's
solid
good.
chef movie.
I just actually
Oh,
hate
yeah?
Dane Cook.
He was my boss.
For you were never at home in a kitchen until you heard a Sublime song and a Forrest Gump reference.
I make Forrest Gump references all the time.
We go together like peas and carrots, and then you hear, "I don't drink
I'm not
no
a smart
sand." Oh, that's
man,
Kate.
Janae,
That's
but
Kate
I
the
know what
elephant.
love
So-
is.
Yeah. Mama said they'd take me anywhere.
Oh God, movie references. No Country for Old Men.
Oh man.
We quoted the. We
Is that what
quoted.
you're asking me?
Oh,
Is that what you're asking me?
and in music, I had a kitchen that I worked in for a little bit. The one that I got paid $12 an hour. He played funk because the prep cooks liked it. I listened to 1970s funk, and then when I went down into the actual prep kitchen, I'd either listen to Doctor Who episodes or that 70s episodes, so I would know when a half an hour turned over. Because when I'd hear that guitar riff, I was like, oh, my croutons are burning.
We used
no.
I used to put on I don't know if you guys know Budos band. They're like they're like big band.
Too
maybe
niche.
Like 8-piece, 10-piece, like kind of like
Like a ska
like
band?
funk, like not ska.
sounds
It's
like a
like
ska
it's like
band.
70s police music or like police movie music, but it's just like
Police Academy
instrumental.
music?
Yeah, no, it's just like funky.
No, like
70s
like
cop
TV
movies.
shows.
Oh,
Yeah. And it's
Undercover
really
Brother, where they play
badass.
Jungle Boogie.
It's really badass, and it actually makes
Jungle
really good
Boogie.
music.
Da-da-da.
Buddhist band.
That's White She Devil.
We do a lot of movie references in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah. You have
We do
to.
a lot of like
Alternate lyrics.
alternate lyrics, movie references. We do. I mentioned No Country for Old Men. You know, there's this one specific scene where he's in the gas station. He's talking to the clerk. You know, and we pull a lot of quotes from that where it's like
There's also an AI rendition of the same
Oh,
scene.
no.
They're both equally as.
they're funny. It's
Awesome.
funny. I don't know if we can play that on here.
Do you have a story of when you burned the fish twice?
What do you mean?
You're allowed to burn the fish once, but not twice. So do you have a story of when you burned the fish twice?
I don't know if I've ever burned.
What do you
fish
mean?
twice.
Where you tried to make a fish order for oh my god, okay, so at
You burn one side, so you just.
well,
put
you
it down.
burn it and your chef comes and chews your ass and he'll throw one down and cook it. So then you get in the next order and you burn it again and he has to come around and show you again, or you
I've
burn
never
it
done
twice
that.
because he didn't show you. You've never burned the fish twice?
No.
No.
Oh, that was like a really common phrase up north. They'd be like, you can't burn the fish twice. That was like a thing. Like,
Interesting.
yeah, like pass it to the left because drugs aren't right. You can't burn the fish twice.
I
I've never heard that.
You know what else is stupid? I also
lost
go
me.
never ever smoke weed for north, east, south, and west.
I remember that from when I was a very young lad. Never ever smoke weed. That's how I remember northeast,
See?
south, and
Right.
west.
Another one of those things that I thought I invented, but apparently
No,
you're the first person I've ever
remember
met.
that from. I remember that from long ago.
I think
the
you
old,
think-
the old
Why
days.
is there two evers?
Never for
Ever.
north, ever for east, smoke for south, and then weed for
Oh, I thought you
west.
said.
One of
Never,
Never
never.
ever. Oh shit.
Never, never.
Never ever smoke weed.
Never ever ever.
What did he say?
Never ever weed.
What did he say? The sheriff is near.
Never,
No,
ever,
god damn
ever
it.
weed.
The made for movie television. It's 12 and a half minutes long.
Quaid, where are we at right now, buddy?
Like 3 hours.
2 hours and 1 minute.
Jesus Christ. This is going to be
Get
our
an
longest
episode
episode
out of
ever
this.
so far. Granted, we're only like 4 or 5 episodes in.
Stranger Things.
Yeah, no, this has been good. This has been great. Do you guys want to close it out, I guess?
Yeah, I reckon.
All right.
We probably should.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
dude, thank you for fucking joining us.
Thank
you
you for having
came in
me.
from out of state to be here.
I
And,
did.
One thing I do want to say though is why does a dude from Oregon look more like a Texan than any of us?
Oh, I can answer that
He
one.
had a
My
fucking,
Texan clothes are
he
dirty,
had a
motherfucker.
fucking belt knife. He had
Dude, the
cowboy
mustache,
boots.
the mustache, bro.
His
Yeah,
shirt
he's-
was tucked
he's got
in.
the
He
pre-
had the fucking flag on it.
Okay, first off, he's a Marine, but we both
That explains
Dude
a
was
lot.
badass,
we
but
both grew up.
looks
He's
more Texan
he's
than any
handy.
of us.
Well, like when I went, Eastern Oregon is more Texas than Texas is. Like I used to tell
have a
people,
hard time
like when I was a
believing
dental
that.
assistant,
It is very country up there, dude. That's like
Yeah.
the last frontier of the states.
it
man.
really is. And
Yeah.
like people would be like, "Oh, you're from Oregon," and one guy, no joke, I was a dental assistant, and I told him I was from Oregon, and he was like, "I'm gonna offend you," and I was just like, "You can't. I'm from the gun-toting, Bible-thumping side of Oregon. Like I'm from the potato side of Oregon." That's when I started telling everybody. I was like, "Oh, I'm from the potato side of Oregon." And they were like, "Oh, okay." So like, I mean, we're a different breed up there. You got to stretch to keep up for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny that he looked more Texan than any of us.
Yeah, he did.
But honestly, yeah, up there by Idaho and all that shit, like that's all, like the
You guys
last
need to come.
frontier.
You guys
man.
need to come up because
There's a whole different fucking
like
part of the
even our
country.
Jack in the Box is better up there. My
It's made with real
Google
horse.
review name is Confessions and Lessons, and when I started eating in Fort Worth, at the end of all my Fort Worth reviews says stop giving your money to Dallas. And I will firmly stand behind that for several reasons. So, and that's where I shine in life is Google reviews. I'm like a level 7 Google reviewer. Like my boobs are on the internet. Like one guy told me, he was like, "You should be a politician." I said, "I have too many nudes on the internet," and he said, "I'll pay to have them removed." And I told him he didn't have enough money. So like, I mean, my boobs are out there, but like, who knew that reviewing places was really where I was gonna shine? You know, like life has a funny way of working out.
Don't it?
Yeah.
I think it's about time to close down this episode.
Yeah.
It's getting late. We recorded way longer than we thought we were gonna.
That's okay.
But no, it's been a fantastic episode. I think
Yeah.
I can't wait to edit this down.
It's
and
gonna be great.
all that.
You guys need to have the drum drop noise where it's like dun dun. Like
I'll definitely send you
pick-
whatever I come up with.
we'll pick it up in editing.
Yeah, dude. I don't know.
That's gonna
There's
be-
gonna be.
You have to put down $1 every time you say that. Pick it up in editing.
Yeah.
Could have,
we're
like,
gonna fix it all,
$8.
but dude, I appreciate you coming out here.
Thank
I
you for
appreciate you
having me.
doing this. It means a lot to me. Like this is something that we just started, and
I'm just
it's
so
got a
happy you
long
get to
way to
do
go.
it.
And please, any time that you're in Texas,
You just have to start a GoFundMe to fly me down here. I'll fly down anytime.
the goal is that maybe someday we'll be able to.
It's,
you know,
it's $317 for a round trip.
Heard that.
Fans
I
can
would,
pay for
I would
it.
absolutely love to have you back on here. You've been a fantastic guest. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
everything that you've done. Thank you so much, and thank you guys for joining us for this episode of More Salt. Come back in a week and see what we got going on.
We'll flash everybody's Instagrams down at the bottom so you can follow all of us.
No.
Please God.
No.
Um,
I
yeah.
post it.
My Instagram's what you know about an oyster. Like,
That's what your
I have a
Instagram name
really
is.
great Instagram name.
But no, thank you so fucking much, and thank you guys for joining us.
Oh, of course.
I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. So yeah, stay salty, my friends. See you next time.